Yeah, his morning or his afternoon, our morning, to knock this out and talk about some things and give us the like the privilege to listen to a story. So this is incredible for me. I know this is incredible for Chris. I know he's got a connection with Eric. So yeah, man, thank you so much for being here. Chris, you got anything?
No, man. Like I said before, Eric, it is an absolute honor and pleasure. One, I always like when you and I get to catch up, but for you to take the time to come on our small little podcast, I appreciate it. We're internet famous thanks to you. So
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you both for this opportunity. It's been a long time coming, I suppose. I've never done one, and I figured when I heard you guys were doing it, I was like, why not do one with somebody who I trust and I follow? Why not? It's the best route to go about it. So I will lead off with that small brief intro. If you guys are good with that. Um,
Yep.
my name's Erich Phillips. Spent about 22 and a half years in the military. Started out in the 82nd. Uh, Went on from the 82nd to the 173rd, from 173rd to 7th Group, and then I ended up retiring out of 7th Special Forces Group in 2023. My time in the 173rd is near and dear to my heart. So I love going forth and talking about it. I won't hide that factor. By far, when people ask me to this date, like what was the best time in your military career, I don't attribute it to anything except for from 2006 to 2010. My time in the 173rd and chosen company is kind of like what I feel is the highlight of my career. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, you've done different things," but for me, that was the absolute pinnacle. Um, so, with chosen company or second to 503rd, 173rd, I actually ended up there. I'll jump straight to that portion. So I was actually getting out. I was about, I think it was like 90 or 120 days from getting out at that point in time. I got a phone call from a buddy of mine who had just been in a pretty bad gunfight up in Arghandab, I think it was in 2005, 2006 time frame for Chosen Company.
yeah.
It's where they lost Sergeant Schaefer, I believe. Um, and so I get this phone call, which is funny. I had just gotten back from Arslick, so I'm like taking my bags off a bus. The 82nd buses everybody in their schools. It was kind of like a last, hey, here you go, you're getting out. We'll give you this school, why not type thing. We owed it to you. Um, but anyway, so I get this phone call as I'm pulling my bags out from under the bus, and lo and behold, it's my buddy Stefan on the other side, and he's like, "Hey man, how you doing? I just needed to talk to you." And so I sit there, and I could tell in his voice a little bit he's kind of distraught and whatnot. And so I'm sitting there and I'm listening to him, and he's telling me about this big gunfight he got into, and some hand grenades went off and messed him up a bit, and he's sitting in Lon's still at the point in time. And so we get to talking, and I told him, I was like, "Yo, dude, like, hey man, don't worry about it. I'll be there for your next deployment." I was like, I'm walking into the reenlistment office right now. I'm gonna see if there's anything. I'm going, dude. I'm going. So I get into the retention office, and lo and behold, man, I know the recruiting dude or retention office NCO had been trying to get me for a while, because I'd been R-Slick, and I'd been already a mortar section sergeant. I'd already been a scout team lead, all that stuff. And so when I go in there, I was like, all right, here's the deal. I was like, I'll re-enlist right now if you can get me to Italy. So I was like, it's the only way I'll go. And he's like, "Oh, sit down, man. Let me look this up." Looks it up. Jumps on the computer, and he's like, "Lo and behold, brother, I got something for you." It's like I got 3 Victor slot for 11 Charlie in the 173rd. It's yours if you want it. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. He was the one behind the desk, but I jumped on it. I was like, "Oh, it's meant to be," which later on I'll get into. A lot of my career is kind of like, "Oh, it's meant to be." Just fell in line, fell in place. But so with that being said, I re-enlisted right away. Went over to the 173rd, and then that's when it hit me after I re-enlisted, and I was like, "Oh man, I've just spent the last 3 years as an 11 Bravo, and I'm going over there to be an 11 Charlie, and I don't remember how to be an 11 Charlie." So I started making phone calls with a quickness, and I got very lucky because my former platoon sergeant, Mata, he happened to be my branch manager, and he told me, he was like, "Oh, absolutely, I'll do it. Yeah, man, I got you covered." So he gave me MLOC en route to the 173rd. So I was pretty fortunate and happy. So I got to learn my job again before stepping into battle, you know. Then let's see. Then I show up. First night I was there, happened to be that my sponsor that I was assigned was on staff duty, so that worked out. It was Jason Aldridge, good friend of mine. Yeah, it worked out to where he was on staff duty, and he happened to be the guy who, you know, was my sponsor. And then he let me know too, by the way, he's like, yeah, man, you know, by the way, I'm leaving for Ranger School next week. And I was like, okay. I was like, what, is there somebody else I need to tag along with or something? He's like, nah, you'll be good. You'll figure it out, man. You're good. And I was like, all right, cool. So then my time in the 173rd started, right? So I show up Monday morning to do all the in-processing piece and so forth. And I meet Sergeant Levy, who was the battalion mortar sergeant. And he asked me, you know, what my history was, where I've been, what I've done. And I had already known that Chosen Company's mortar section sergeant was leaving. Stefan had already told me that, which was the company he was in. So I was trying to finagle my way in that door. So then I talked it over with Sergeant Levy. I was like, hey, you know, I spent all my time in battalion mortars, and then I was in battalion scouts, which is all HHC time. You know, let me go be a line section sergeant. It's like, it's something I haven't done. I need it for career progression, this, that, the other. I sold it to him fairly well. So he gave me the job, and I went over to Chosen Company. And that was where I got my first in briefing, was actually by the S1. He was a African-American dude, E7. When I got there, I was in S1 and I was signing in. And I don't remember exactly what he told me, but I remember he told me something that stuck with me. And he was like, oh, you're coming from the 82nd, huh? I was like, yes, sir. And he's like, well, just so you know, or I told him, yes, Sergeant. It was an E7. I was like, Roger, Sergeant, I'm coming from the 80 Deuce. And he's like, just so you know, we get a lot of you guys, and you guys don't make it. So I hope you learned how to tighten up your shot group when you got here. And to me, at first, I was like, you know, I was one of those. I grew up in the 82nd, man. There's no better unit than the 82nd. You know, you got regiment, but that's different. That's different. Yeah. You know. So when he said that to me, it kind of struck a chord a little bit different. I was like, oh, you know, we'll see what's up. And then I went on the first run, which was Mount Baraco.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I have learned that is and I did it to the NCOs when they first showed up too. I had learned that when a new NCO shows up to the 173rd, first thing you do is you take him on a run to Mount Baraco. You see what he's made out of. And that's kind of like the initiation, if you would.
So Jerry, real quick, that's like a 4-mile, 5-mile run. You can make it different routes. Like you can. Did you ever do Eric the 7 faces?
6.
Did you ever do the 7 faces of Baraco?
No, I did not, and I never wanted to. I'm not much of a runner, sir. If you remember, short distance all day, long distance not my thing.
Brother, I think that's why you and I got along. Okay.
Probably. I could run like a son of a bitch, though.
Yes. We like to work out and we rock. So.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah. So you know, that was the first kind of like awakening, like, where am I type scenario. Yeah. You know, and it was good. And then you know, I got to working with the dudes. They were all studs. They were all PT studs. Yeah. I didn't have a single one that was questionable. I had another dude who had showed up maybe 6 months to a year before me, and that was Jesse. Quick. He came from 10th Mountain, so he was a little bit, and he's a bigger dude. He's one of those cornbread fed dudes. You know him. He's just a mountain of a damn man. You know what I mean? He's just he's a big damn boy. Yep. But you know, he was all right and his being in shape and stuff like that, and so that was kind of the beginning, and that was how it started. It was interesting. It was highly interesting. Yeah. But they had a reputation. Damn, did they have a reputation already from what they had already done in 05-06. Yeah. I remember when I showed up, First Sergeant Beeson, you know, he did, actually it wasn't Beeson. Beeson replaced Burzak. It was Sergeant Major or First Sergeant Burzak at the time.
Scott
That's who
Burzak.
it was. That was who I did my first sit down with, and then Beeson had replaced Burzak, and then
Okay.
that's when Beeson took over. But yeah, I remember, man, that was different. It was different. It was a different conversation back then. And I tell you, man, like they had pulled my entire record and everything, because like right there at the end, I was getting ready to get out, so I kind of turned it up a little bit and wasn't doing PT as much as I should and stuff like that. My initial PT test signing into the unit was, I think I ran like it was like a 14:45 or something. It wasn't even that bad, looking back now. But to Sergeant Major Burzak, or First Sergeant Burzak, that was not NCO quality run time, especially for a high-speed tabbed E6, as he put it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh God, all right, yeah, I need to tighten my shot group, like the S1 guy told me.
Yep.
But it was good. That was kind of the start, and then after that, it was all preparation for what we was going to Iraq at the time.
Yep.
So that's what we were gearing up for. A lot of VPB operations, vehicle patrol base, maneuvering gun trucks, and house-to-house scenario training, stuff like that. And then came the shift. And I remember that. Colonel Oslin had gotten back. I think we were in Hohensfels at the time. I remember it was, oh man, there was so much snow and it was so damn cold. Like it was, it was so cold and miserable. And he pulled the whole battalion into the tent, and he gave us a brief of, hey, I just got back from the PDSS. There's been a shift. We're no longer going to Iraq. We're going to Afghanistan. Oh, and by the way, we're going for 15 months too.
Nice.
It was all kind of like one big shift. It was like, whoa, what? What the hell just happened? But that wasn't the big thing, I had been Iraq, I'd been Afghanistan, so I was like, all right, that's cool. And then he started showing us the photos of the PDSS. Yeah. And then everything was snow because it was winter, so it was all snow. And I remember when he got to the ranch house and he was like, oh, Chosen Company, you're going here. He got to the corn gall, it was like, Battle Company, you're going here. Bella, it was like, Chosen, you're going here. And I just remember like, Chosen, oh shit, man, that's us. And there was one or two places. It was just off the photos that they had taken. And it was one, I'm in a fishbowl, or number two, I'm on the side of a mountain. Neither one was my preferred choice.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This was going on my 4th combat rotation at this point in time. So I'm like, oh my God, this is not what I'm looking for. But nonetheless, we went into it. We went in, we dove in, we shifted our planning, shifted our priorities. We started doubling down on rucking because we knew, hey, we're no longer doing vehicle shit. Now we're walking everywhere. Yeah. So we made that shift in our training aspect and got things moving in the right direction. And then came the day, May 22nd, 2007. I will never, ever forget that exact date, because when I stepped off that UH-60 onto Ranch House LZ, and then it dusted off and it flew away. The dust finally cleared, and I see all the nice pretty rocks. I got my nice heavy bag on, my weapon, and then I look up and I just see there's a switchbacks that go up the mountainside, and I'm just like, oh my God, where am I? Because I had been in Afghanistan before, but I had mainly been fought in the South. I mean, I was in Aruzgan, Gardez, Organy, the Shken area, Derawu, passing around through those areas, So I hadn't been in the Northeast prior. So seeing trees like the size of me, and then seeing, the foliage and the elevation. My God, the elevation. Yeah. I just remember walking from the LZ up to the med shed, which is where I ended up setting my bed down spot at, because it was right across from the mortar pit. And it was no more, man, I won't lie, like straight line distance, we're maybe talking 25 meters, but it was switchbacks up and down the LZ, And when I got up there and I stepped inside that med hooch to drop my ruck, like I felt like I had been stabbed in the lung. I had a gas mask on. and somebody took my nuts and put a rubber band around them, and I just could not breathe. It was like no matter what I did, I could not breathe. The altitude was just beating the living hell out of me.
Yeah, I think
And
a
I was,
lot of people.
yeah,
Go ahead. Yeah, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, I had gotten myself back in fairly decent shape before that deployment too. Like I was rocking,
Yeah,
and it whooped me.
yeah.
Stepping
I
off that
think
bird was,
I think a lot of people had that experience. So when we first got there, right? For me, I started off down in Jalalabad because I was still on the brigade headquarters staff, and so Jalalabad looked like it could have been Iraq, right? Relatively
yeah,
flat. You could see mountains kind of way, way, way off in the distance, but it was relatively flat. All that stuff. And as I'm getting closer and closer myself to coming to the rock, the brigade commander's like, "Hey, Chris, we're going to get you out on some missions. We're going to go. We're going to let you go see some of the areas where the battalions are." And the first one I went to was up in 191's AO, and
okay.
God rest Tom
North
Boss.
Weigel.
Yeah. God bless Tom Bostic. We went up there where Tom Bostic was, and I can't remember the name of it, but we fly in, and kind of like you said, you were everywhere up there. You were either in a fishbowl or you were literally on the side of the mountain. Well, this one they were in a fishbowl, and you fly down into the HLZ, get off, and it was that kind of like oh shit moment, like you're talking about. I'm looking around. First and foremost, I'm like, this is fucking beautiful country, number one. But number two,
I
like
don't want to fight this shit.
there's a mountain right there. Holy
Yeah, man.
shit! Like if they could just stand up there and lob grenades, and we're not going to be able to do shit. It
Yeah.
was like, oh my god! It was such a. I wasn't ready for it mentally, right?
No.
I
No.
thought I was, but I was not ready for it mentally. And then that first moment when you get there, it's almost indescribable. It really is. So you get the
It's
chosen,
breathtaking for sure.
yeah. So you finally get your nuts out of a vice and your lungs
Yeah.
back. What are you thinking when you get up to the ranch house?
All right. So we're there and we're kind of doing our left seat, right seat. At the time, first platoon had gotten split amongst Bella, Cop Bella, and then Ranch House, which was in Aranis, about 7.5K difference, but
Yeah,
about half a day's walk, even though it
yeah,
was only 7.5K, and that was due to the mountains, the ridge line. There's only one road in on one side that goes through Aranis, or you're going up and down the other side, walking the ridge line to get in. It was the only two directions. Those were literally the only two pathways to get there, though.
yeah,
So it was damned if you do, damned if you don't. All resupply. There was no driving in. All resupply was done via 47 sling loads. Every once in a while, if it was small enough, if it was like just mail, we would get the 60s would kick off a bundle. It'd just be some mail. But the majority of everything was sling load in from the 47s just because of the altitude. Even though we
mhm,
couldn't fly in on a 47 because the altitude was too high. I think the base camp sat around, I think it was like 7,800 feet
yeah,
roundabout. Um, pretty pretty brutal.
yes,
But what's interesting to me is prior to this deployment, I've always been kind of more so like the gray guy, if that makes sense. Like I've never been a number one PT stud. I've never been
Yeah.
the number one anything. I've always been kind of like the dependable dude who gets shit done. Like
Hmm.
needless to say, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I'm not your go-to board guy like some officers and NCOs have. I'm the okay, we need to make shit happen. Who's gonna bitch about it the least and just make it happen? All right, go get Phillips.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
kind of like how my mentality was back then. Like, hey, this is what we signed up for. This is what we're gonna do. We're fucking infantry. We're gonna make it happen. It was kind of like my mindset back then. Um, so there was a lot of that. So people didn't really know who I was, minus what Stefan had said about me with the other, because he had done 3 rotations with me in the 82nd. So he had talked to a couple people about me, like, hey, man, this is who this dude is, and kind of vouched for me, which Stefan had already built up a reputation himself with the last
Good.
deployment and going forth as far as being a squad leader, as being like one of the most solid dudes in Chosen Company.
Yeah.
And so him speaking about me, and then Burzak telling me how he respected Stefan, and then Burzak giving me the introduction speech that he gave me, and then Beeson giving me his takeover speech. Like, needless to say, I was threatened a few times, and not in a good way. I was worried. I was worried I was going to screw this up.
Yeah.
And find myself on a plane flying back to Italy, packing my bags to fly back to the States. Like, that's kind of the way things were verbalized. So I had seen that happen before. My first deployment to Afghanistan with the 82nd, my squad leader, over a fire mission that took place in Organy, was relieved of command and flown out within 72 hours and sent back to the States. So I knew that was a possibility. Like, I had seen it with my own damn eyes. So when people were like, I will get rid of you, I was like, oh shit, I better make sure everything's wired tight, you know? But it worked out in my favor, because it made me, as the one NCO put, I have a horrible memory. I would love to attribute the saying to his name, but I just can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But I attributed it all to him telling me, like, hey, there's a different breed of NCOs here, and you need to tighten your shot group while you're here. I attributed it all to that, because I truly hammered down on all aspects, and I made it work, and it came together.
They upped your game.
It did. They did, man. And which was interesting, because coming from the 82nd, I had already thought, like, I was each unit that I went to, I got humbled a little bit each time, to be honest, like coming from the 80 Deuce, I was 19-year-old E5, 19-year-old tabbed, E5, 21-year-old E6, spent my time in a mortar section, spent my time on a scout sniper team. Like, I had thought I was like pretty legit, pretty good to go. Then I show up over there, and it's like, hey man, not only are you not up here, but you're somewhere down here.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God. So it caused me to PT twice as hard, study the books and the FMs twice as much. It was good. It was good. I needed it, to be honest. It was a nice reality check. So then while we're at Ranch House, right? Good old Ranch House. So we hit the ground 22 May 2007. Got a lot of young dudes. It was half of first platoon. We had 22 dudes on the ground, counting myself and my 2 mortar dudes, and then 1 medic. And so that was all we had on the ground, 22 people. It was built on the side of a mountain. If I had to sum it up as far as like size, I would say we're probably maybe 75 meters by about 150, 200 meters, like off the top of my head, kind of like on the literally side of a mountain, 45-degree angle side of a mountain. Yeah. So starting from we'll say the east end, if I do this right. No, it'll be the north end. Starting from the north was like post 3, and then you came straight down to the south, and that's like where the A&A's living quarters was.
Yeah.
So from post 3 to post south, straight line distance. And then from east to west, you had post 1. Then directly across from that was the ASG position.
Okay.
On the opposite side. Then you had post 2, basically like at your 9 o'clock, we'll say. No, probably around your 10 is where post 2 is, and post 4 would be down at your 5, right?
Okay.
And then in between those 3, you had the TOC, the aid station, the mortar pit, and then the areas that we lived and housing and storage and stuff like that. right?
Eric, is this a house that's already? Is this like an Afghan house, or is it something that
These are
you guys?
B huts.
It's like B huts,
We
like
built
sand. It's
these.
like you had to build
Well,
that whole
we didn't
thing,
build them.
right?
Yeah, 10th
Oh,
Mountain
okay.
had built them. There
Yeah.
was, so where the ASG stayed out of, let me backtrack that a little bit. Where the ASG stayed out of was a former, as we call Bondi, right? It was like an old style facility that was there. They had rebuilt it and modernized it and stuff like that. But that's where they stayed. Everything on our side, though, 10th Mountain had built up.
Mm.
They were the ones who built the combat
Yeah.
outpost. They're the ones who built the COP prior to us coming in, and then we were refining it during the time frames that we were there.
And
So they're
for
like,
anybody,
go ahead.
yeah,
Sir.
no, I was just gonna say for any of the families or non-military people that are listening. So Eric mentioned the ANA, that's the Afghan National Army, and the ASG, those are the Afghan security guards. So the security guards are just, quite frankly, they're randos, if you will, that we found.
Makeshift militia.
Yeah, we found, we vetted, and we hired to basically help us with security on some of our installations out there. But no, you're good. Keep going.
All right. So what else? What else needs to paint that picture before we get into it? Okay. That covers that. That covers that. All right. So starting out the morning of, right? So we had done several. There was two E6s on this COP. It was Staff Sergeant Zwick, myself. Zwick was the weapons squad leader of 1st Platoon, so he was a senior NCO. I was NCO number 2. Oh, there was 3, and then Staff Sergeant Begay, Comrade Begay, my buddy. It's my buddy. So there was 3 E6s, and then 2, 3. I want to say 3 or 4 E5s that we had, and then the rest were Joe's, and then the 1 LT, Lieutenant Matt Ferrara. Which me and him on our time at Ranch House, man, we became very, very close. He's a great fucking dude. He's an awesome guy. I love him. Love him to death. Yeah. So morning of, we had, like I said, we had already done a couple rotations. Me and the other staff sergeants done our perimeter walks. We've done PT around the perimeter. We knew kind of general areas that were weaker, if you would. Other areas that we wanted to improve on that we never got the opportunity. I won't say that we never got the opportunity. We were there 5 months. It's kind of our own fault. Some of this, I mean, some of it, in my opinion. But anyways, so as we're going forward, it's about, we'll say 0455, 0457 or something. I'm dead asleep, passed out on my cot. You know, getting the Z's, getting my beauty rest, loving life. And all of a sudden I wake up to machine gun fire. And it was a very long, extended burst. So I jump up and I'm like, oh shit. Next thing I hear is RPG erupt. Boom! Right into the side of the building I'm in. Like, I see the walls shake and chilling. The FO jumps out of his bed, you know, because it hit that corner of his wall. Get up, start putting my kit on, you know, and I remember the time because at 0:05 every morning was when Begay would wake me up because I would relieve him and I would take radio talk watch at 05. Right, yeah. That was like the time he came and woke me up was 05. I'd be in the office by 5:10, stuff like that. So we had our routine, you know. And so I remember I get up, I start putting my kit on, I put on my helmet, I start putting my nods on, and I remember I looked at my watch. And it was 4:57. So I took my nods and I threw them under my blanket, and I was like, all right, I don't fucking need these right now. Because I was fighting with them. I guess it was because I was in a hurry or whatever. I don't know, man. But I'm fighting, trying to like get them remounted on because they fell off while I was putting my helmet on. Checked the time. I was like, oh shit, 4:57. I don't need them. Put my blanket down. Right about that time, I go back to putting. Oh, I was putting on my LCE. I just finished putting my plates on. And I was putting on my LCE and Specialist Baldwin and Specialist White come running into my hooch. Like, boom, kick open the door. They come running in there. Like, Sergeant Phil, we're under attack. And as I'm putting my shit on, I just look up at him and I was like, yeah, no fucking shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
You know, I finished snapping all my stuff in. And they're like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I was like, get the fuck back to your position. I'll be right there. You know, I'm putting my stuff on, getting situated. I kept all my stuff. I have a little bit of OCD, you know, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
So I had all my stuff nice and piled each night. So, you know, I got my kit on, I put my helmet on, I sling my gun, I grabbed my LHMBC, my light handheld mortar ballistic computer. I grabbed my my clipboard that has my pre-established targets on it, you know, because like every good Charlie, we had marked preparatory fire positions all the way around the fire base and some inside the fire base. Thank God we did that. But we had set everything up the way we did. And so I had everything I needed. I was like, oh, we're golden, dude. So I come walking out my hooch. And as I come walking out the hooch, the ASG are sprinting by me. Like, you hear the gunfire all over the damn place. It's pure fucking chaos, straight up. Plus, these dudes are running past me. I got Americans over here yelling at me, Sergeant Phil. And then I hear gunshots up at the top, and I'm hearing explosions everywhere. And I'm just like, holy shit. This is really happening right now, you know what I mean? This is the initial time I'd been in something of this scale. I'd been in a couple gunfights here and there, but I had never been in anything close to this scale. So these dudes are running by me, and the commander was going by at the same time I'm standing there, and I'm yelling at his dudes, you know. Here's where things are going to get vulgar. To paint the picture, I'm going to be closer to what I was stating. Yeah. You know, and I told him, I was like, hey, where the fuck are you going? Get back to your position. Get the fuck back to your position. And he turns around and he's telling me, he's like, Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Taliban. I was like, no shit. Get up there and fucking fight. Yeah. Get up there and fight. And they're like, no, Taliban. And they kept running right past me. Like the commander and everybody. So at this point, I'm like, what the fuck? So I turn back around to look back over in the direction that they're running from. And then that's when a machine gun bursts right there, right at my ankles, man. Just shit starts kicking up. Yeah. That's when I was like, oh shit, they're inside the base. That was when it registered to me that they're inside the base, not outside the perimeter. So the mortar firing point from the aid station, I mean, we're looking at 15 meters. So I was like at the 7.5 meter mark when I stopped in the trail yelling at the ASG. So when that burst went off, I dove. Like, there was no answer. No thought process, no nothing. Like, my shit was in my hands. I'm yelling at these guys, and I see that, and it happened, and whew, I dove. Yeah. Well, this had never, ever happened to me before, but I guess when I dove, my LHMBC hit the ground pretty fucking hard, and it Z'd out. Oh, shit. I lost all my data. I couldn't believe it. I mean, like, it was like 1 in a million. Like, are you kidding me? This really just fucking happened of all the times. You know, the first thing that went in the back of my head was, you know, the older NCOs raising us up, us pre-war babies raising us up and telling us, hey, don't rely on technology. The day you rely on it's the day it's gonna fucking fail you. And you know, like, yeah, you guys are just old, man. You're not paying attention. Yeah, shit makes life easy, you know. Sure shit. The day I needed it, it failed me. The new LHMBC, and it was the cream of the crop and the best of the best at the time back in 2007. Yeah. So the date, I don't know if I went into that. It's August 22nd, 2007. Yeah. So that shit had kicked off. I dove over, mortar ballistic computer, everything Z'd out. That's where we start taking rounds, and I'm yelling over. Baldwin's there with me. I got White with me. I hear Chavez yelling from the guard post because he's over in the guard post position, guard post 1. He's yelling over at me. And I'm like, oh, fuck. All right, stop, everybody. I was like, Baldwin, what do you got? And he told me the initial onset, like, hey, you know, Chavez had just relieved me. I got inside. White just came off of fire guard. We were both inside. And then that's when everything erupted. dudes came from here. We've taken fire from here, from there. So then my radio, of course, my radio and LHNBC had both shit the bed. Luckily, I was within yelling distance of post 1, which is where Chavez was.
Yeah.
So I yelled over to Chavez. I was like, "Hey, dude, I do not have radio communications. I need you to relay everything that comes across." He's like, "I don't give a shit what it is. Paint me a picture. I need to know everything." And Chavez was like, "Yeah, no problem, Sergeant, no problem." So things are continuing to go. We're fighting back and forth. I remember we're firing. Me, Baldwin, are firing over at the towards the ASG position. And through the tree line, I kept seeing like shadows and dudes moving. So I would call them out. Like, "All right, dude, at my 1 o'clock, I got 2 dudes in the opening of the tree line. It looks like a half moon. Fire!"
Yeah.
I'm just calling out what I can see, and we're hitting shadows because you couldn't really see anything, just shadows, man. It was like fucking Ghost, you know. So we're going back and forth right there, and then I remember Schilling came out. Now the time, as far as like timeline, I can't say, like, I could be mixing events up, like how it unfolded, when it unfolded, and stuff like that. You know, it's one of the things they always tell you, like 50 of us can be in a gunfight, and all 50 of us are going to recall something different at different points in times, or whatever it is. It's just, yeah, it's just the way the brain works, right? So I know there's a lot of documented stuff that is out there that people have came out and told their stories. So if any of mine does not line with theirs, I'm not saying they're liars. I'm not saying anything like that. All this is from how I recall it.
Yeah.
Just want to put that one caveat out there. So Schilling comes out. I tell him to take up the position on the corner of the aid station. I was like, "Hey, start hammering fires up onto the hillside." I have Baldwin engaging over by the shitter that we built, our burn barrel with a makeshift outhouse that we built over it.
Oh yeah.
like legit, you know, outhouse. We built an outhouse, and there was a barrel under it that we burned shit in after we used it. There was dudes already that had pushed up to that position, which was maybe 25 meters from the mortar firing point. So we were engaging with those guys. Schilling moved forward. Like I told him, he took up position on the corner of that aid station. And as soon as he takes it over, man, he's lighting gunfire up. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm starting to get better essay of what's going on around me, where dudes are. I'd already sent White back down to the TOC because I didn't have a radio, like I said. So I wanted him to relay to the TOC what I'm getting from post 1 as far as the information that basically I took the battle picture that I had painted in my head, relayed it to White, and told him to go brief Lieutenant Ferrara so that way he knew what was going on the outside pieces since I didn't have comms. Yeah. So White went back down there. Schilling's on the corner of the building. And then all of a sudden I see the corner of that building explode, man. Boom! And I'm sitting there, and for a brief second, it went through my head. I was like, holy fuck, I just lost Schilling. Like, damn it. Like, it was an onset that hit me. Like, fuck, that kid's gone. Yeah. And then, sure shit, man. Like, all of a sudden, you see this dude come back, shake his head, like all this dust coming off of him. And he's looking at me, and his eyes are like this fucking big. Yeah. And so I yell to him, get over here, get over here. So as he starts moving, I lay down some fire. He comes in, grab him, set him down. I was like, all right, let me check you out real quick. I couldn't see nothing, but I could damn sure tell he was shell-shocked as hell.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like he was in another zone at that point in time, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I took him, put him inside the bunker because, like I said, we were at the mortar firing point. So I had my 62 sandbagged around, and we had an actual bunker that we had the mortar rounds that were kept in there. But our other saving grace, because it was the most fortified and heavily protected position, it was also the ASP. So I had ammo for fucking days. Yeah. I had every mortar round at my disposal. I had all 5.56 at my disposal. I had all the hand grenades at my disposal. So it kind of worked out in our favor, right?
Yeah.
So I took Schilling and I put him inside the bunker, and I was like, "Hey, dude, all I need you to do is reload magazines." I was like, "I will fucking fire the rounds, hand you an empty magazine. You just keep the magazines coming."
Yeah.
Because at this point, it was me, Baldwin, and I think Durkinitz, the medic at the time, with Schilling. And Schilling was inside. So the three of us were there doing the engagement from there, trying to beat back the guys who had already pushed forward the 25-meter distance. That had already closed that distance. They're probably about 15 meters from us at this point. So we're just sitting there hammering away. And Schilling's loading magazines and Sergeant, you know, like, I throw one down, Sergeant, like. So we were, you know, it was, and then at the same time, like with every big ordeal that happens in the military, there's the funny moments, you know, like the things I recall the most fighting from the ASP, the ammo position, right?
Yeah.
Is I had gotten an engagement on, and Baldwin was to the side of me. And I had to change magazines, so I told Baldwin, relieve me. And as I came in, I burned the shit out of him with my barrel. I will never forget that.
Yeah.
Burned the piss out of him. He still has a scar that goes across right here. I felt bad. You know, I was like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. And he's like, it's all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
Just keep shooting.
Yeah. So there's that funny moment. Then there was... Oh, dude, I could have killed him. All right, same thing. Jason Baldwin was always my character. Okay, he was the youngest.
Yep.
He was the youngest of my mortar section. He was a little PT stud. He was arrogant. He was an arrogant 21-year-old kid. You know what I mean? And he had rights to be. Like, the kid was squared away, but his fucking mouth I couldn't stand. But I love him. Love him.
Reminds me of somebody else I know.
Right? Crazy. Crazy. But hell, I just talked to him 2 days ago. Like, I still talk to those boys. I love those boys. But so all the funny stuff tends to happen with him. So, you know, I burned him with the barrel accidentally, and then at one point something happened with my M4, and it got jammed up. Took some rounds, something went wrong.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to transition to a pistol. That I was firing at the dude who was right behind the porta-john. Like, I seen him take that position, and then I like unloaded a whole magazine, man. Like, with the marksmanship abilities I have now, looking back, I'm like, what the fuck were you doing, man? Like, that was spraying and praying like no tomorrow. Looking back, I'm like, dude, I probably didn't even hit him. Like, looking back, it was just like,
Yep.
But anyways,
Eric,
you only know what you know.
you didn't at this time, you didn't know what was still going on, right? Did you not have like the essay like, man, I don't know how many dudes are here, like,
no.
what the fuck is going on? Like,
I knew based off of what Chavez was able to tell me from posts 3, 2, and 4 that we were taking contact 360 degrees. I had already pieced together that dudes were inside the wire because the guys I seen trying to maneuver on us. Then I received the call that post 3 had fell, that there's no more communications with post 3. Then I received the call that all men except for one from post 3 was accounted for. That we had one dude who was MIA, who was PFC Deloria. So like the picture, and like I said, time wise, like I can't fathom to put it all together, man. But those were like the different calls that I kept receiving, like as the situation was developing. But as far as immediate essay on where everybody was and what exactly was happening, I did not. I absolutely did not.
So, like, for this, anybody out there listening, you guys are pretty much on your own little islands within the base, fighting off the enemy. Pretty much.
Yes.
It's like everybody's like, hey, we're on our own. It's all of us about fighting off. We don't know, but we're sitting here in our own little positions, just fucking fighting it away, man. You know,
And
so
each one in their foxhole giving them hell.
Yeah.
And who's the senior? Who's the senior on ground? Do you have an officer?
Lieutenant Ferrara. Lieutenant Matthew Ferrara was the senior on the ground.
And so
Absolutely.
presumably he's trying to coordinate this, but you already said your radio shit the bed
Didn't have
within
one.
seconds. Yeah, within seconds. You got outpost 3 or guard post 3 that's down, tower 3. You lost communications. Somehow you said Chavez is able to relay some information to you, but it is literally, Jerry, that's a great way to picture it, right? You've got separate islands of contact now that you're just
fighting for survival, man.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
fucking
much
crazy.
it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's the
all that
ASP.
was-
Yeah.
So the guy behind the shitter, did he get away?
So come to find out, in my humble opinion, is I think that was the dude written up in the award. I think that was Hazrat Omar. I think that was him on his advance, because he was found, his body was found not too far from the shitter.
Yeah.
So I like to attribute it to being, all right, that was him, man. Like, I got something. Now, whether I'm the one who actually hit him, who the hell knows? Like, there was a lot of gunfire, like we were saying. But so as we were sitting there, the next thing that Jason does, is I'm sitting there, and like I said, I had transitioned to the pistol by this point. So I emptied the mag. I turned down. I was like, "Hey, give me a hand grenade." Hands me a bag. I can't make this shit up, man. Hands me a bag of water balloon hand grenades. In the middle of our base being overran, this kid finds it funny and hands me a bag of water balloon hand grenades. Like, at the time, I didn't find it so funny, and I threw him back in his face, and I said, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" But looking back now, it's like, dude, that's hilarious. You know, like, where does that happen? Give me a hand grenade, and a dude hands you a bag of like water balloon hand grenades.
The hell did these come from?
Exactly. Well, so leading up to this, like I said, we hit ground May 22nd, right? And then all this went down August 22nd. There hadn't so much had been a single round fired at us or us at an enemy combatant. So it had
I was going to ask
been
about that. Yeah.
5 months of nothing.
Okay.
Now, when Joe gets bored, Joe referring to our junior enlisted soldiers, when Joe gets bored, he gets creative, you know? So they had water balloons sent to them. They had water guns sent to them. There was a point in time where they built something called the Slide of Life to entertain themselves.
Fucking heard of that,
Yeah, the Slide of Life was pretty... It was a slide of life. You were lucky to be alive if you finished the damn thing. I remember them calling me out there to look at it. Summerfield, come check out what we did. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with you guys? The first dude who wrote it was the medic. While I was standing, I was like, hey, what are we doing? He goes down. It catches the end. He flips head over heels, cracks his head open on a rock. I was like, tear this shit down right now. Nice. Like, no, we're not having this. I was like, tear it down. We're not doing this, dude. So that's how the water balloon hand grenades came to play. It was in one of the care packages. Hey, I'm bored. Send me this.
Did you guys there was never any like probing going on? Do you think there was anything like they were like?
We never received anything.
Nothing.
Anything. Like,
damn.
Leading up to it. I would say 2 weeks leading up to it. There had been guards who had said, hey, I'm kind of hearing something out by my guard post. I'm not sure what it is. And I would tell them to fire warning shots straight up. It's the middle of the night. We're on the side of a mountain. I don't know what it is. Shouldn't be nobody approaching the base. If it's an animal, we're going to scare them off. I would tell them, hey, fire off 3 to 5 rounds. No issues. You know what I mean? This is 2007 in Afghanistan, my fourth rotation. I got no problem firing off a couple warning shots because you're only going to get the one chance.
Yeah.
That is me telling you, hey, next one, it's your ass and it's your own fault. I justify it. Like, you got a warning. 4 to 5 of them, to be honest. You got 4 to 5 warnings. But nonetheless, so like there may have been, but even the when I look back now, now I have the more analytical, strategic mindset and planning aspects of things, and I've done a lot more, seen a lot more. I don't think there was ever anything other than reporting that came out. I don't think there was ever really anything that gave it away that shit was coming.
Yeah.
I don't. I found
Now,
out later on that there was reports that was being pushed in through different entities who were working in that Northeast area as well,
yeah,
from SF teams and some of the three-letter agencies and stuff, that there was a lot of reports that kept saying, hey, they're going to hit Ranch House. They're going to hit them with like 200 dudes. They're going to overrun it. But we heard those same reports starting from like 4 weeks on the ground, and it just
yeah.
kept going and going and going. And that's why I think kind of led to some of our complacency, in my opinion. As an NCO looking back, I'm like, okay, yeah, there's things we could have done better.
There was a lot of that going on. I remember from my time in the battalion, but even before that, while Ranch House is going on, and before, like you almost become numb to some of the reporting. I hate to say it, but you do.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, yep, they're going to try to overrun it, and you're waking up earlier and earlier in order to try to offset that. And then it never happens. It never happens. It never happens. One of the questions I want to ask right now to kind of help paint a picture. So, how long do you think you've been in this firefight at this point?
All right. So, because I've jumped all over, at which point are we talking about? You're gonna
So,
have to give me the reference.
so old boy tries to hand you some water balloon.
The water balloons.
Yeah.
The water balloon. So
Yeah.
we're probably like, I'd say an hour into it by this point.
Okay, that's a great point. So, Jerry, question for you, because you've been in several firefights yourself, right? How long does it usually take in the firefights that you've been in to get some sort of external support coming to you? Think AH-64s, maybe even depending on the size of it, maybe a little gunship action with some AC-130s, or some A-10s. How long does that usually take? You think?
Depends on where you're at, man.
Yeah, but
and how close your nearest support asset is.
Right. So you're thinking like, on average, I think we wanted like 20, 30 minutes tops to be able to get stuff like that there. All right, now back to you, Eric. Has that stuff shown up yet?
No.
Yeah, because they're so fucking remote right now that everything is it's back there with me in Jalalabad, right? Unless we knew something was going on, i.e. chosen company, battle, able, somebody was going to be doing something. And in that case, we either pre-stage it there at, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank?
Blessing.
Thank you. Blessing.
Yeah.
We'd either pre-stage it at Blessing or we'd have it in the air already. Otherwise, you're talking from notification to spin up, travel time, at least 45 minutes to an hour to get anything anywhere. And that's not counting the Ranch House, which is out in the middle of fucking BFE. Okay, so you're at this point now. You're about to toss your first water balloon hand grenade. You're like, motherfucker, come on.
Yeah. So then after I throw him back, hit him in the face. I mean, I kind of deserved it. I did burn him with my barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of fucked up on my behalf. Burned him good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at that point, he gives me some hand grenades. We start chunking hand grenades back over the side. We had already tried, I want to say 3 separate times to get the 60 tube up, right? Because that's the big thing. Like, hey, man, you guys are sitting at the mortar pit. Why are you not firing the tube? It was pinpointed. They knew exactly where the fuck it was. All 3 times, Baldwin made 2 maneuvers for it. I made 1 maneuver for it. Every single time, like, there was rounds bouncing off the damn tube. And so at that point, to me, it was like, all right, I can lose the dude trying to get the mortar tube up, or I keep an extra gun in a guaranteed fight to repel what's going on. So obviously I kept the guns in the fight and continue to move forward. Yeah. So the decision came. I had gotten notification that, Deloria was missing, and all the dudes from post 3 had pushed down to post 2. So that meant right away in my head, I already know, like, okay, ASG ran past me. So the bad guys own the the southeast sector. That's theirs. We lost comms with post 4, who's down in the southwest. So I'm assuming they own that ground as well. I still hear gunfights going on, so I know the A&A must be holding ground down there, because right after post 4, the next trail went right into the A&A. So post 4, we lost comms with them, but they never lost their posts. We found that out later. It's just when Remmel was up there opening up, round came through, took out Remmel from his side, and cut the mic in half. It actually hit the mic too, and cut the damn mic in half. So that's how we lost comms with them. But Sergeant Johnson was down there. He was a phenomenal dude, always has been, and he took care of shit and held it down there, all on his own, because we didn't have any comms with him. So I didn't know what the hell was going on down there, So at this point, I decide. So I get Chavez yells over to me, and he's like, "Hey, Sergeant Gonzalez is at post 2, and he's fading in and out of consciousness." So at that point in time, I had the medic with me, and I was like, "All right, here's what we're gonna do, dude. Post 2 wasn't that far from me, maybe a 50-meter sprint, and there was some things in between me and post 2. There was a post 2 living quarters. There was a big rock ledge wall type thing that was there. It's a boulder. It's not a wall. I call it a rock ledge wall. It was a big ass boulder, massive boulder from Afghanistan that was on the pathway. So I knew I had that for cover. I knew there was a couple things in between where I'd be able to get there and get to post 2. So at that point, I made the decision that that's where we were going. So I told the medic, Durkenitz, I was like, "Hey, dude, here's what's going to happen." I was like, "We're going to throw 2 hand grenades. On the explosion of the second, we're fucking hauling ass to post 2 living quarters." I was like, "Stay on my heels. Don't slow down, because I'm not stopping." I was like, "I'm going there, and I'm not stopping till I get there." And he's like, "Got it, Sergeant, understand, good to go." So at that point, we turned around, threw 1 hand grenade. I prepped the second. I think it was Baldwin who threw the first one. It goes off. I prepped the second. I look at Durkenitz, and I was like, "All right, dude, you ready?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm ready." I was like, "All right, if I move, you move. You got it?" He's like, "Yeah, I got it." I was like, "All right." Throw the hand grenade. I don't even think twice, man. I take off running like a dumbass. It was like following the flashbang, man. It went, and I went too. And normally somebody else throws it, and that's what causes the guy to run. For this one, it was my own, like, just running everything through my head so fast. It was like, "All right, it's gone. Now you're gone." And I took off running, me and Durkenitz, and he was on my ass. I remember we made it probably about halfway to post 2 living quarters when that bitch went off. I probably tinkled my pants a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Oh shit," But then we got to post 2, and we were there, and I think everybody and their brother saw us run there, because holy shit, the amount of barrage that came down on top of us was unfucking real.
Jesus.
Like, it was, RPGs were coming, rounds were hitting. Like, I was like, holy shit, they saw me. They saw me. So we only had the one medic on the base, which was Durkenitz. I told him to go inside of post 2. The position was getting lit up so bad, I was worried that I was gonna lose him in the fight, and he's the only medic I had. So I told him to go inside, like flat on his belly, inside post 2 living quarters, and I said, "You do not bring your fucking ass out here until I call for you." I had told him, I was like, you don't move, dude. I was like, "You don't hear me say your name anything that comes through that fucking door, kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, I realized how far in they were. You know, this bee hut. I mean, it's a normal sized bee hut, so you figure they're what, 12 feet long,
Yeah.
roundabout. I had dudes on the back side of the fucking bee hut, like me and them are fucking gunning it out back and forth. Like that's how close they had gotten. So I'm hammering, I'm firing from the right side, I'm pushing to the left side, I'm firing up the hill. Kenneth is inside, you know, doing what I told him. He's laying down. Post two's yelling down, we need the medic, we need the medic. And I'm yelling to him like, hey man, I can't move. I can't fucking move. Like if you guys can give me suppressive fire, I'll get up there. Like I'm talking to him, case whatnot. I'm engaging, and I moved back to the right side of the bee hut to engage back down towards where the ASG and the shitter was. To engage back down that way, I moved to the right side, and you know, it's like in the movies. You know, and those of us who are out there and have been in fucking some good firefights, you know, not everybody has the ability, like doing research and shit like that. You know, you come to find out it's like 1% of the population has the ability to slow time down, think through what is actually occurring, how it's unfolding, be able to make their next decision and continue to grow and move forth and so like that, right? Well, this time it was like out of a damn movie, man. I came out on the right side. I start engaging, and I just see it. Big smoke, just smoke and fucking RPG coming straight at me, man. And I was just like, I'm shooting, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is the one that's going to end it all. And I just turned my head, and I kind of crunched down a little bit, and it hit that rock wall. The boulder I was talking about behind me.
Damn.
It hit that. And it threw me forward. And when it threw me forward, I slammed into the concrete post onto the ground, the concrete pad that was there. And I don't know what I said or what I yelled out, but it caused their Kennets to come out.
Yeah.
Post two. And when he came out, he seen me picking myself up. And he's like, son, are you good? Are you hit? And I was like, I'm fucking fine. I'm fine. Take the left corner. So I pushed him to that corner where I was bouncing back and forth, trying to make him think that there was more than just me there fighting, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy when I think about it, man. Like some of the shit I'm saying, and I was 21 at the time.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Little fucking kid.
Anyways, sorry. That just hit me right now for some ungodly reason. I apologize.
Yeah. No, because I've been thinking about the whole time you've been telling this story, man. This young guys out there. This young kids.
21-year-old E6 at the time. Yeah. Crazy. 21, 22, somewhere around there. Anyways, so he pushed over on that left side, and to be honest, like I think that they had finally figured out that I was coming out there and engaging, because within half a second of him posting up on that corner, me telling him to engage the high ground, he gets hit. Like as soon as he come up, I don't even think he got to fire a fucking round off, and he got hit right away. So I see him fall as I'm engaging on the right side, and I'm telling him, I'm like, hey dude, get up. I need you to get up, move over here to me, tell me what's wrong with you. Like talk to me. What you got going? Doc, you're the only medic. I need you to talk to me. What you got going, man? What's happening? And he's not saying shit. So I'm sitting there and I'm still engaging, you know, and I'm kind of like looking over. And like I said, I was posted up on the right side of the building, and he was over on the left side. So when he got hit, he slumped down. But on the left side of that building, it was also built like along the side of a terrace. So half that building had cover. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was pretty set right there. So it was just like I said, they had to be waiting for me to come back, and I think that bullet had my fucking name on it. But anyways, he goes down. I'm talking to him. I'm engaging, and he's not getting up. You know, I watch him try to get up like once, and he just slumps back over. So I'm like, hey dude, get up. You know, and when you're a high speed young infantry dude and you're in the shit, you say things to people that, you know, later looking back on, you're like, damn man, if somebody would have said that to me, I'd have been feelings hurt. But you know, yelling shit to him like, hey man, you know, don't be a fucking pussy. Get your ass up. Like, hey man, you only got hit in the shoulder. I saw where you got hit. Don't be a baby. Get your ass up. Don't make me leave you here. Dudes are depending on us. Like, I'm saying anything I can to try to, what I think at the point in time is motivation to get him up,
Yeah.
right? You know, looking back now, it's like, motherfucker, I was hitting a lung. Like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
But you know, so I'm like saying these things to him, trying to get him moving, get him up, and he's not. You know, he tries to get up one more time, and then that's where I see him spit the bright red out of inside of his mouth, and I was like, oh shit, like he's got internal bleeding. It's bad. That's when it hit me. It was bad. Post 2 is yelling for me. Hey, we need the medic. We need the medic. I finally yell up to post 2. I'm like, hey, medic's down. Medic's hit. It's like, medic's hit. We don't have a fucking medic. So I'm yelling to them that I got to get him moving. I'm like, hey, I gotta move him down to the position. I need cover and fire. I need you guys to open up, to lay down some scunion, if you would. Sean Langevin was actually on top of post 2, and he was a saw gunner. And he's actually who I named my son after.
Okay.
Same spelling and everything. I named my son after Sean Langevin. He's up on post 2, and he's like, when I tell you to run, run. And I was like, all right. And by this point, I'm out of hand grenades. I've shot all my ammo. I shot all Durkinet's ammo. Like, I'm literally just sitting there, you know, getting rounds pelted all around me. I have nothing left. So I have to go back, refit, try again, right? Langevin tells me, he's like, hey, man. He's like, hey, Sergeant, when I tell you to go, go. I had one hand grenade left. I pulled it off of the medic. I was able to drag him to me by his boot. I was able to pull him by his boot, get him to me then that's how I was using his ammo, because I drug him over, and then as I was emptying mags, I was taking his. And then I had the last hand grenade, and then Langevin's like, when I tell you to go, go. And he just kind of like went up on a knee a little bit and just opened up full drum of the saw, man. Like just like, oh my God, he had to do a barrel change after that. Like, it was fucking insane. I take my last frag, I throw it over to the top of the building. I grab Durkinet's by the back of his LCE, and I take off running back down the mountain. And I'll tell you, like, I'm not a super religious dude, nothing like that. I do believe in a God, you know. We all got here some way, somehow. Yeah. That's my thought process. And I do feel that at times there is something out there that may intervene to assist us along the way. You know, because we all have a purpose at some point in time. And as I was pulling him down the mountainside, you know, in my mind, I'm already thinking like, fuck, I got to go the same way I came up here. Like this, this is not going to be fun. This is going to suck ass big time. But as I threw the hand grenade, Sean Langevin opens up with the 249. I take off to run, and I just see out of the corner of my eye, because like I said, it's built on the side of a mountain. Corner of my eye, I see a perfect little ravine that leads right down and swings around right beside the damn mortar pit. I have never seen this pathway ever in my fucking life in the 5.5 months I'd been in this base.
Jeez.
And I just saw it, and it was beautiful. So I grabbed him, and I only had to move maybe 5 meters across complete open ground at this point. You know, I'm like, this is great. So I grab him, and I take off running. Well, he was a little bit heavier than I thought. So, you know, the snag comes. Yeah. I was like, oh, shit. Start seeing the rounds kicking up around my boots and whatnot again. And I was like, all right, here we go. And I just, everything I got, and I shoot down. My feet come out from under me, and me and him end up sliding through this ravine all the way down to the bottom. We slid right out, but right in between the mortar firing pit and post 1. We ended up sliding right in between them. Like, I was like, holy shit. Like, I'm telling you, I had never seen this before in my life. But it was there, so I took it. I get over there, I'm checking him out. I see the entry wound, you know, I start stripping him off. I see the entry wound. I see it's going to require a little bit more. And at this point in time, maybe it's the wrong call, maybe it's the right call. I'm not sure. But I decided that it's going to require more medical need than I have time to give.
Yeah.
So I called over Chavez at that point in time. I told Chavez to come over because there was two dudes at post one's guard position all fighting. I needed one to come over. I got Chavez over. I told him exactly the wound that I seen. Let him know I didn't see an exit wound. Let him know where he got hit, what I've seen as far as the blood splatter, so forth like that. Told him I'm pretty sure he needs a needle decompression. I'm pretty sure he's got a lung collapse by the way he's breathing. I need him to take over. Do you have him? You got him. You got him. Are you sure you got him? You got him? All right, I'm getting back in the fight. And then that was my brief.
Yeah.
Then I jumped back into the gunfight. And once I get back in there, at some point, no, it didn't happen yet. Okay, so we get back up to post to the mortar firing pit, and we're back in. We're throwing hand grenades, gunfire erupting, all that. Back at same shit happening again. I remember the RPGs coming in, and you could see them, like you could see the trails the entire time. You'd see it coming, you'd be engaging, be like, all right, RPG down, and we'd go down. It would skip right off the top of the mortar firing pit. You'd be sitting there watching it. It goes off into the distance. It pops. All right. It was like a battle drill, man. You got back up and you started shooting again. It's like, all right, RPG. You'd get down. Watch it skip off. You'd come back out. Watch it explode. Get back up there and do it again. It was like fucking battle drill. But so all this is going on, different points, different times. I don't remember exactly when it happened. At some point in time, Lieutenant Ferrara, I think it might have been after the first gun run. I think. I'm not positive. But the A-10s came in. We finally got aircraft on station. I think we're like 3 hours into it now by this point, somewhere around there. I don't know exactly. Like I said, all the timeline's a little fuzzy. But we finally got A-10s on station. And Lieutenant Ferrara, he asked what I thought, and I told him, he asked me, where do we need them? I said, look, man, down the center. I was like, do one north to south, one east to west, right down the center of the fucking base. I was like, we don't own anything right now. I was like, we own the guard positions. Then he made the calls, and next thing I know, like, he told me, he's like, all right, here it comes, it's coming. I remember you hear it, and then you see it. And that was that was another moment where I was like, holy fuck, this is real.
Yeah.
Because I see this A-10 coming in, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So literally turn over, and I'm like curled up because I know that it's coming. I know the earth is about to open up, and I just start feeling shit pelting off the helmet, like just boom, 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 as you hear, as we like to call it, the finger of God go off. The first one went north to south. I see, I see the talk. I was like, holy shit, they hit the talk. I couldn't believe it. I was like, we just lost the talk. Next one coming through, I started seeing it hit. Started at the ASG position and worked its way to post 2 down through the pathway that was there, through the living quarters and all that. That second run went right through there. That's the one where I felt shit pelting off the helmet, and we were getting ready and shit. And then at some point, I think it was after the talk got hit or during the gun runs, I'm not positive, but that's when Lieutenant Ferrara ended up there where I was at the mortar firing point. And then that's when he told me, he's like, hey, we still haven't found Deloria. I know you tried to go to post 2. I need you to go to post 3. I need you to get up there.
Yeah.
In my mind, because like I said, me and Matt became very, very close. In my mind, it was like, yeah, dude, okay, cool. Let me reload with ammo. Let me reload with grenades, all this, that, yeah. In my mind, that's the way it went. Later on, talking to Matt, I think it was like around, I think it was like October 2nd or 3rd, because it was when I lost a good friend of mine from the 80 Deuce, Yance Gray. It was the same day I got that notification. I was sitting in Blessing, but yeah. So we were sitting there BSing, me and Matt, out on the LZ. I got the picture. His brother gave it to me. Matt had it on his computer. I have the picture somewhere. But anyways, we're standing on the LZ and we're just sitting there and we're bullshitting, you know. And he told me, he's like, do you remember your reaction when I told you to go look for Deloria? And I was like, no, sir. And I was like, I just remember being like, all right, let's do it. And he starts laughing, right? And I was like, that's not how it went, is it, sir? And he's like, no, man, that's not how it went. I was like, okay, how did it go? And he's like, brother, when I looked at you, he's like, I knew you were the guy. I knew I had to send you.
Yeah.
He's like, but when I looked at you and I told you, hey, Sergeant Phillips, I need you to go to post 3. He's like, the look on your face, he's like, it was twofold. One, he's like, the look on your face was, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah.
He's like, and then the second look on your face was like, are you really going to make me do this, sir?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
So in my head, though, that's not how it went down. You know, in my head, it was like, all right, got you, sir. Let's do this. But yeah, having the pleasure of talking to him about it later on, you know, was kind of cool. But, so he told me, you know, it was definitely after the 2 gun runs. I do remember that. So the base had already been strafed north to south, east to west. And he had told me he needed me to go up. And so I started grabbing dudes. Anybody who was around me, I grabbed like 4 dudes. It was like, hey, it was Baldwin, Chavez, I think it was White, and then the S-Pop kid. So we always had communication issues with our SDN, our satellite node. Always. Because of where we were sitting, we always had fucking problems. So it just so happened that our original medic, which was Roque, had been pushed out to Blessing with a couple other dudes to get refit, and Durkinitz had just came in for a couple days. You know, the medic that just got lit up, just came in for a couple days. Mm-hmm. The S-Pop, or the SDN kid, came in with him to fix our communications, you know, get up our internet and our phones so we could call home, the morale aspect. Just came in. Like 2 days. These 2 guys got here 2 days before the shit went down.
Yeah,
you know?
It's nuts.
So we get them all. I grabbed a couple dudes and I'm like, all right, here's what's gonna happen. Same thing I did before. We're gonna haul ass up to post 2. We're gonna take a quick breather, or post 2 living quarters, and then we're gonna haul ass up to post 2, and we're gonna get in there and we're gonna pull out the wounded. Everybody was like, all right, cool, got it. So there was still some shots, random pop shots being fired off here and there. It wasn't as heavy, but there was still rounds being engaged, going off. We move up to post 2 living quarters, catch good breath. I look at everybody. I'm like, you good? Everybody's like, yep, good. Boom. I took off as soon as I got the last good. Make it inside of post 2's fighting position, their actual guard post. It was pretty good size, built out. We had a 240 there, a 249 was there. We was good position. All the dudes from 3 and 2 had converged there, so it was a good size, you know, 2 squad and a half. Get in there, and I'm like, all right, what's the easiest way from here, you know, because I got the dudes from post 3 there. What's the easiest way to get to post 3 from this position? And one of the dudes tells me, hey, Sergeant, you know, like right behind post 2, if you go right around the rock wall, you're going to see a cutout, a little ravine to come up. Once you come up on top of that ravine, though, you're going to have about a 10 meter of open ground you got to cover to get to post 2's, or post 3's guard position / living position, because their living quarters was right underneath their guard quarters. It was the only one we had like that because of where it was built and where it was. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that way they could reinforce themselves quickly if needed, based off of how it was set up. Anyways, so I started telling the dudes, I'm like, you ready? And then this high-speed dude, Burton, the SDN dude, he looks at me and he's like, Sergeant, I'm not cut out for this shit. This isn't what I do. I'm not doing it. Dude.
Well, you are now, bud.
I was like, okay. So I look at him and I'm like, are you sure you can't do this? And he's like, Sergeant, I can't fucking do this. I was like, cool. So I put him to the side. I'd already dealt with one shell shock dude. I didn't want to take anybody with me, not knowing damn well I'm about to go take the high ground on a fucking post that we lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I didn't want any maybes.
Yeah.
It was I needed fucking pipe hitters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is happening. So I think it was Langevin, Baldwin, Chavez, a couple dudes. I think I ended up with like 5 or 6 guys that was the fire team size element that I went up there to take posts with. We went up the ravine. We popped up the side. There was nothing. It was nice and quiet for a bit. You still heard shots being fired around, but we didn't see anything where we came up on post 3. So I get the 249 up. I'm like, hey man, you cover us so we can move into the post 3's living quarters and get up on top of post 3 and see if we can find Deloria. See where he's at, because we haven't heard nothing from him. We don't know where he's at. We don't know shit about him. So the saw comes up. He's covering the ground. We make way around the backside. This point in time, I have an M4 again. I had reloaded the pistol. I'm coming up the back to post 3. I see the ladder there. You see somebody sitting on top of post 3 as we're making our way up. I'd already set into position. Basically, my overwatch is already set in with the 249. So I got a 3-man position there, and then 2 to 3 of us are making our maneuver up to hit the guard post and living quarters to see what's remaining up there. As we're making our approach, you could see somebody's up on top. You can't see what it is. Deloria is a Filipino. So he love him to death, but when you're covered in mud, blood, and sweat and everything else, you kind of look like one of the other guys over there in that position as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got my gun trained on him. Dudes are asking me, do I shoot? And I'm like, don't shoot. I can't tell. We don't know who it is. It might be him. So then we start making approach, and I'm like, all right. So I was like, I'll be the guy to go up. If this dude clacks himself off, fuck it. It's going to be me. It's not going to be somebody else. I'll be the guy to go up. So I start approaching the ladder. At the same time, I tell the other dude, I think it was Baldwin and White, maybe. I tell those two, I was like, you clear the building, you clear the bunker underneath, I'm going to come up on top. Transition from my M4 to my pistol, I come up this ladder, and I come up over the top of the ladder. Boom. And it's PFC Deloria. And he just smiles. Like this big shit-eating grin, man. For anybody who knows him, that is like his signature. He's always smiling. Yeah. Like this kid, he always made me happy when I seen him because he always fucking smiles. He's great. I still talk to him sometimes to this day. He's a great dude. But he told me, he's like, Sergeant, I'm happy to see you. And I said, motherfucker, not as happy as I am to see you.
Yeah.
I'll remember that, you know? And so then as I'm sitting there with him and I'm checking him out, I'm telling the guys, hey, advance up, lock down this position, make sure I got a saw on the front of the guard post, get the 240 back up, check the Mark 19. We're, getting everything repositioned while I'm checking him out. And he's fucking dude's blown out of his shoes. He's bleeding all over his back, his legs. Like he's been lit up pretty good. So I help get him down the ladder, security set, positions in. This point in time, I hear Blackhawks arriving, so I'm like, cool, more people are showing up. Things are kind of dying out. Thank God, it's a good day. It's a good day. So I get him to the bottom of the ladder, and I was like, all right, dude, I'm gonna carry you down, bro. I was like, come here, I'm gonna pop you over my shoulder, because like I said, you ain't got no shoes on. Like we're on the side of a mountain. The ground's uneven. There's spurs everywhere. There's rocks everywhere. And Deloria looks me dead in my face, and he tells me, he's like, Sergeant, if it's okay with you, I'd like to walk. And I told him, I looked at him. Oh, dude, chokes me up whenever I think about it. It was a fucking proud ass moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look him dead in his face and I said, son, if you want to walk, ain't a motherfucker on this mountain gonna stop you from walking. Let's walk. and I walked him down. Walked him down to the LZ. Then when I got down there, people were coming in. Let's see. We had already established CCP. Like I said, there's little things that I recall. I don't remember like when exactly they all went off. Baldwin, that I would love to. I should have reached out to him, tried to get him on, but I'd like to get him on to get him to tell the story from the way things were unfolding at the mortar firing
Yeah,
point.
it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
He talks about it best, man. Like at that mortar firing point, he's like, dude. He starts talking about how he started dropping those rounds when I took off. He's like, yeah, when you took off, everything just started shooting at you, so I was able to get the tube up.
Nice.
He's like, I just remember aiming the tube straight up, dropping rounds, watching it go, and say, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
So like hearing him tell that perspective is pretty gnarly.
So was this young kid up in the tower? Was he just fighting the whole time, like just by himself?
The tower collapsed on top of him.
Oh, it did? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
So they had hit him with so much over. He was the one on guard. He was up there on the Mark 19 at the time when it kicked off. They had hit him with so much overwhelming fire that the guard post itself had just collapsed on top of him.
Jesus.
They took out all 4 beams and it just collapsed on top of him.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so he was trapped underneath, and throughout time, like talking to him, now, like, that kid dealt with a lot. Him, Ryan went with his stuff from Wanat, but when you hear this kid talking to you, telling you about how he could hear them talking around him, and he could hear them going in the building that he lived in underneath of him, shuffling around, searching for shit. Like, it puts a different perspective in my head of like what we actually did and what we walked away from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, that's kind of the ranch house unfolding.
So
But
you're looking
my
at
favorite part. Go ahead.
you're looking at what 20 some paratroopers against what's the total you think?
So it was estimated. There's different reports. Anything from 100 to 200, 60 to 80. Like I can say based off the video, because there is a video. They were able to recover a camera that Hazrat Omar had on him, and they got some footage and a propaganda video that came out after the fact of them. They did it was a full-on attack. They ran the attack the way we would have. There was an op order given. Like, you see them giving an op order. It's a solid layout of the base that we were on. Like, it was insane. It was insane. You see the whole infill, like them filming from the original village that they're moving through, as they're coming all the way through the mountain passes. They're recording it, playing their music. You see the post up in the massive cave the night before the attack, which that position that they're posted up at, I have photos in that position, from one of our patrols that we did, and we had searched it out. Been like, hey, if we ever come back through here, this is a fighting position. We had marked it. So it was kind of disturbing to go back and watch all that. And it was also like, it was the first time, even with all the different gunfights I had been in and everything like that, my time in the 82nd, all the training and everything, all the stories you hear. Like, I was a big Vietnam style dude, so I'd read a lot of Vietnam books, growing up and stuff in my teenage years, and as a young NCO, like, that was my fascination, like, oh, well, what would I have done was always my thought process, like, those are moments that define people. What would I have done? What would my reaction be? So it's always that younger Erich Phillips questioning things. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy looking back. But so my part that I like. So I'm gonna jump forward to post deployment real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all know that I was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for the actions at Ranch House, right? So as you guys heard me talk about before, I was the gray guy beforehand. Wasn't super squared away. I wasn't the NCO you sent to the boards and shit like that. I was the NCO. If you had a discipline issue, you brought him in to square away a squad, a platoon, whatever case is. I was kind of that guy, you know. So I wasn't super spun up knowledge wise on what awards are what and all this shit, you know. So one random day we're post deployment, we're on leave. I'm sitting in a hotel and I'm checking my AKO for whatever reason, and there's an email in there, and it says that it's from Human Resources Command or some shit like that, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? And it's from this chick, a civilian, not even signed with a rank or anything, straight civilian. And it says, hey, I have an award here for you. I need an address to mail it to.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, you know.
Sure.
So I figured like it was a PCS award. You know, it always takes that shit forever to catch up to you, your RCOMs, all your shit. You know, they never make it to you. you just, it doesn't happen. You end up getting a photo of it from somewhere and making your own copy and all that. Not that we would ever do that, right? But
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So I reply to the email. I give her my APO. I was like, hey, you know, this is my address back in Vicenza, Italy. Yeah, go ahead and send it here. And then, you know, as a side note, I reply and I'm like, if you don't mind me asking, like, what is this award?
Yeah.
You know, I don't hear nothing for a couple days. Still doing my post 15-month Euro trip. And then my buddy, who's the JAG guy who was going with me, it was actually Stefan and De Leon who were with me. So Simmons and De Leon.
De Leon.
The three of us were doing this Euro trip, right? I was going through a divorce. De Leon was going through a divorce. Stefan was getting out. So we were doing a 10-day Euro trip and we were burning it down.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that we had to relieve as far as stress and pressures.
Yep.
So finally, I get this email back and I tell the dudes, I was like, guys, you're not going to believe this. And they're like, well, what's up, man? And I was like, so I got a reply back. I never even told them that I had the email in the first place. So I started telling them the story. I'm like, hey, man, like, this is crazy, right? Just hear me out. So I was like, I got the initial email. I replied to it. Said, hey, here's my APO. And then I had asked the question with the rebuttal, like, hey, by the way, what is this? You know? And she tells me in the email, and I ended up calling the boys. I was like, you got to come read this, man. Like, make sure my eyes are right. And in the reply to her email, she said, oh, yeah, well, you were awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. Congratulations. I already sent it off. It's in the mail.
Wow.
I was like, okay, thank you. And I send it back. Right. So we're all still on leave, you know, and that was kind of the end of it for me, right? We're all still on leave. We have a good time. Fast forward again. It ended up showing up my APO and me being me. I don't think nothing of it. I just throw it in the back of my beater car. And I'm at the gym one day. I was getting out of my car and going into the gym, and my battalion commander, Colonel Oslin, was coming out of the gym. We're still on leave. And I walked past him. I was like, oh, good morning, sir. And he's like, hey, good morning, Sergeant Phillips. And I kept walking in. I was like, you know, maybe I should ask him about this.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, sir. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, sir, can I bother you for a second? And he's like, yeah, what you got, Sergeant Phillips? He was always real approachable, great dude, you know. I love Wild Bill Oslin, man.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking do. I do. I really, really do. Anyways, but so I was like, hey, sir, you know, I got this award that was mailed to me. I didn't know. I know, like, we normally do like award presentations, but I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it. I was like, but I have this. I wanted to present it to you so that way you can do something with it if you want, or if not, it's cool. I'm not worried about it. And he's like, okay, what did they send you? What do you got?
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, oh, well, I got a Distinguished Service Cross in my car. His eyes got about that damn big. Like, he was shocked. Like,
Yeah.
I still remember the look on his face, the visualization of, the fuck did you just say? You know, and you know, calm and collective. You know, like he's like, yeah, Sergeant Phillips. Why don't you go ahead and give that to me, and I'll make some phone calls, and we'll get this taken care of properly. You know, and I was like, okay, sir, yeah, no problem. So he walks with me over to my car, and he tells the story so much better than I do. But he walks with me over to my car. You know, I open the car, and it's a 2-seater, a BMW 318. I open up the car, flip the seat forward. I'm like tossing shit everywhere. I pull it out, and you know, I got the green binder, and then the little the award case. That's what I was trying to say. The award case and the green binder. It comes in, you know, and I hand it to him, and he's just looking at me like, "You really just had this buried under a bunch of junk in your fucking car?" Like, so hearing him tell it is always way better because he puts the emphasis of how his thoughts were going. Like, this motherfucker really do this? It's just buried in the back. But like I said, like I didn't really realize what it was, the weight that was behind.
Sure.
Like I had no idea. I
Yeah.
had no idea, man. I was
Kind of
never
a
a dude who
weird way.
chased promotion. I was never a dude who,
Yeah.
you know, I did my job, and I love doing my job. So, you know, that was just me. So I ended up giving it to him.
That's so
And-
Army though, man.
Yeah.
Ah, dude,
It's so Army.
it's hilarious. So that's how Ranch House ended up unfolding, and how I had received the DSC. Oh, dude.
So I got to ask before we move past the Ranch House. I don't know if you got anything else for it, but like that's what, 4 hours worth of fighting?
Yeah, it's estimated that it was anywhere between 3 and 4 hours when the A-10s came on station, and then total time between 6 and 8 hours before the tick was closed out because of all the shots that were still going off and people who were being pursued and shit.
So not to make light of it, but you know that's my personality. So a good day's work, right? You put in a solid
Absolutely.
6 to 8 hours. Yeah.
I slept like a baby that night too.
Yeah, right. but on that point, like, how do you what is going on mentally with everybody after this, right? You finally, like can you walk us through
So
that?
the outcome, right? The outcome. Man. All right. That's actually a solid question, sir. That's a really good question. I was pondering on this yesterday. Because this is something that I wanted to capture, and I think I wrote a side note on it. Let me just grab this real quick. Can't believe I missed that. Okay, so there was a couple different mindsets going on, right? We had gotten information sent up to us from the village saying, hey, some of the guys that you guys fought, they're treating themselves down at the school. So the LT, Lieutenant Ferrara, he wanted to pursue. Like, we want to go get him. The way I was viewing it at this point in time, we took 11 out of 22 casualties.
Yeah.
Yes, we had two UH-60s that came in. We got plus back up. We're probably sitting around 30 dudes on this small ass base that was housing 22. So now we're really doubled up. And then the second portion of it was, like I said, this wasn't my first rodeo. You know? So I talked to Matt, Lieutenant Ferrara, and I told him, I was like, look, sir, I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I was like, you want to chase him? I'll fucking chase him. I don't care. I was like, I'm just as pissed off as you are. I was like, but in this given situation, due to the amount of casualties in which we've taken, due to the information that's being fed to us, due to the fact of the size of element in which we got hit by, and the village did not warn us prior to, I'm going to advise against us moving down into the village, to the schoolhouse, to chase these guys who just hit us from 360 degrees.
Yeah.
I was like, air's not dependable. We can't call it back. I mean, we just medevaced 11 dudes off this fucking base. So I advised against it. And one thing I loved about Matt Ferrara is he would listen.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons we got so close on that 4.5, 5 months at Ranch House is, dude, I'm not one to talk bad about people. I love all my brothers and sisters, but some stand out more than others. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
some have certain reputations over others. Um, at to my core, to my heart, I was always an 11 Bravo. Even though I had been put as a Chuck in the beginning, I was always 11 Bravo. That's why I went to the scout team for 3 years. And so when other people were whining about going on patrols or throwing bitch fits about it, Matt would come to me and he'd be like, "Hey, Phil." That's what they used to call me, as Phil. He's like, "Hey, Phil, you want to go on patrol with me?" And I was always, "Yep, let's do it, sir. I got your back. Let's roll. Let's roll. Let's roll." So me and him built up some pretty good relationships as far as that went. And so he took a lot from things that I would say to him. So when I advised him not to pursue, um, he looked me dead in my face. I could tell 1000% he wanted to. And I had my feelings that we were going to. I was about 80% positive he was going to say, "Yeah, all right, gotcha, but this is what we're doing," because he's done that to me before.
Yeah.
And I ran with it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, at the end of the day, you're the boss. If it ain't going to cost lives, and I can't prove it's going to cost lives, it ain't dangerous, then we're going to execute, you know? But yeah, so I had talked him out of it. So there was that side, right? Like there was people pissed off that wanted to get the revenge aspect. There were the younger guys who had never so much as had a bullet fired at them. They just had their base overran, who were having issues right now, kind of letting that sink in.
Yeah.
You know, there were some of the younger dudes who was helping treat casualties, who saw their NCO fucking wigging out, who took around, and I had to put a knee on his chest and tell him, "Hey, shut the fuck up. You're a goddamn role model and you're scaring the fuck out of these kids. Let him give you his IV and you'll be okay."
Yeah.
You know, there was just different points, all kinds of different things that unfolded at different points in time. And then for me, to be honest, like I don't think I ever truly accepted or processed what I actually went through at that point in time until many, 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 many years later. Like one of the things that, you know, like we were talking about the funny moments and shit like that that had occurred. There was two other moments, both of them with Baldwin. Baldwin was my clown, man. But when Matt told me to make my way up to post 2, when I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. I took a knee and I took my helmet off and I set it down beside me. You know, I'm getting ready. There's still a gunfight going on. I'm getting ready to run up the side of a fucking. I'm charging a mountain. Let's call it what it is. Getting ready to charge a mountain. I'm taking my helmet off, setting it beside me, laying my gun on top of it, lean back, pull a can of Copenhagen out of my pocket, and I start packing it.
Hell yeah.
And Matt's like, are you know, he kind of like stuttered through it. He's like, "Are you about to put a dip in?" I was like, "Sir, this might be my last dip, and I'm gonna fucking enjoy it before I go up." And he's like, okay. You know, so there was that moment, which I did. I ended up doing the same thing again and whatnot. So it ended up being like a trend, I guess, with me.
Yeah.
I did the same shit and whatnot.
It was your ritual. That was your ritual.
Yeah, it became a ritual, I guess. But and then the other piece was for whatever reason, and it was before the water balloons shit. Whatever reason, while we were up there at the mortar pit and we were getting our gun on, I remember Jason asking me. He's like, "Hey, Sergeant Phil, do you know what day it is?" And I just remember looking at him and I'm like, "Dude, it doesn't matter what fucking day it is, but it's a good fucking day to die."
Yeah.
You know, and it was, I don't know why, but it just kind of like flowed out and then back to getting the gun on, you know? It's just like little shit like that. But so like there was moments that we were laughing about, and then there was the moments of revenge, and there was some of licking the wounds, trying to process what was going on. And then second platoon had come in as a part of that QRF, and those guys, you know, them talking to us, seeing how things are going and shit, and having Sones and not Sones. God, dude, why can't I remember these dudes' names, man? He was the ops dude for a while. Hilarious guy. Oh, God. Trying to think of his name. I can picture him, but I just can't. Anyways, they were doing like an episode of Cribs, Ranch House style, and there's
Nice.
videos of, like wearing a PT belt, making sure that you're safe in the wilderness, and like they were making us laugh, and we were having a good time.
Yeah.
And then we shut it down. October 2nd or 3rd, we shut it down and burned it to the ground, and that was probably one of the most happiest days of my life, watching that bitch burn to the ground. I was happy. I was like,
Hey,
they're
Eric,
getting nothing out of this.
Yeah.
Eric, how did you triage that many casualties, man? Like with a medic that was down. Like, how did you guys figure that out? Like, I know that the other platoon probably brought in a medic, right? Or was
Yeah, they did. They brought in the basically the whole aid station from Camp Blessing came in.
oh shit.
Like,
Okay.
they when that initial QRF came in, because what I found out later is Matt was phenomenal on the radio. Like, he was calm, collected. He ended up getting a Silver Star for Ranch House, for controlling things the way he controlled, maintaining composure. He earned it 1,000%. Like, hey man, straight up, like, he earned it. He did his thing, and he executed the best he could with what he had on the ground. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get a little messed up when I talk about Matt. It's still one of those things I find a hard time dealing with. Like,
Yeah.
I really fucking liked him. What were we?
Yeah. So we were talking about like just the how do you reset? So a day, 2 days later, right? We haven't the battalion, the brigade, we haven't made the decision at this point that hey, we're gonna shut down the ranch house, right?
Yeah.
So how do you reset mentally? Because you've got soldiers that is the first time that they have ever been shot at in anger, and somebody has tried to kill them. They've seen NCOs go down. They've seen their buddies go down. Like I know I've seen it. Jerry's seen it, but not to that scale, quite frankly. Like,
Yeah.
what are you telling guys? Or is it the tough love of hey, just shut the fuck up, let's go? Because
So,
that's
to be
hard.
honest, it was a mixture. It was a mixture based off of the dudes that I had on the ground, right? Because when you're with people 4 or 5 months and you've gotten to know them very well, right? So you know who needs tough love, who needs a softer approach, stuff like that. Because some of the issues that we had was we as in Lieutenant Ferrara, Zwick, and myself, we had made the decision to rotate certain dudes back because second platoon was there on the ground now,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, hey, certain dudes, we got to get out of here. You can kind of see the writing on, the writing on the wall with some guys. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
signs are there, and you're like, okay, if I get him taken care of now, he's gonna be fine. If I let it fester, it's gonna be bad. We're never good about that shit with ourselves, but
Yeah.
you can see it with your guys. So most of the dudes had rotated out. So it was mainly second platoon dudes there. My mortar guys were there. Me and Matt were there. So a lot of it was just talking to the guys who came back, who had like what's the term? Guilty remorse, or
Survivor's guilt.
yeah, survivor's guilt, because we had, like I said, we had just rotated dudes to Camp Blessing,
Yeah.
and during that rotation time frame was when we got hit. So you had Tenon, you had Roque, which was the medic who felt like shit, 'cause he's like, that was my platoon.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it was when I did pair up with these guys and talking to them, a lot of it was having the conversation of, hey man, one thing that's the bright side is that we didn't lose anybody that day.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, some fucking insane miracle. Like 11 dudes wounded, some pretty severe, but we didn't lose anybody that day. We were very fortunate. We fucking fought our asses off, and we were able to keep everybody. So I would remind them of that, and I'm like, and I would tell them, I'm like, hey man, this is my fourth deployment, bro. I was like, that is the closest I'd ever come. I was like, I'll be honest with you guys. At that point in time, I fucking accepted death. I was like,
Yeah.
this is the motherfucker knocking on my door, and he's come to take me home.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is done.
Yeah.
And so explaining that to them and letting them know, like, maybe there's a whole reason and a purpose that you weren't here. Like maybe you weren't supposed to be here. So I would work that over and trying to, I mean, we weren't real big into the PTSD shit back then, but I cared about my dudes, and I knew that, I mean, I come from a busted childhood, you know what I mean? So I knew that positive reinforcement and having them speak about certain things would help them. Wasn't going to make it better. There is no making it better. It's learning to cope and deal. But I knew that saying certain things would assist them. And so that's the route I went. And then with the guys who were there, I reminded them, like, again, hey, man, nobody died because of the way you guys fought.
Yeah.
Like, you did exactly what you're supposed to do, what you're fucking trained to do. The enemy came knocking at your door and told you, hey, get the fuck out. And you said, hey, suck a nut. This is my home. And you sent him away packing,
Fuck yeah.
Like, I would capitalize on that aspect with those guys.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I kept people motivated and kept them going.
Because at the end of the day, I know you're about to get to it here in a minute, and you already kind of mentioned it. The end of the day, you're only 4.5, 5 months deep
to a 15-month deployment.
You still got 10 months left.
Yeah.
And a whole nother fighting season.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So we finally make the decision. I remember I was up on brigade staff, getting ready to come down to Destin Company when we got the word through. I think it was CJTF 82 at the time. I think 82 was still in charge. Okay, let's get them out of Ranch House. And so we move you out of Ranch House, and you end up where?
So at that point, Ranch House got shut down. So I ended up staging out of Blessing for a bit. I had a 2-man mortar crew out at Cop, Michigan at that point in time.
Yeah, that's where my boys were.
Yeah. Yeah, with Kemp and the LT starts with an O. No, Tatum.
Yep.
Tatum.
Cool
dudes, man. Love them both. Great, phenomenal guys. So I ended up out at Blessing, and I had 2 dudes forward at Cop, Michigan, and I was at Blessing for a bit, and Blessing was making me crazy, man. It was where the battalion headquarters was. It was where the company headquarters was. It was like for a guy like me who does not toe the line and shit like that. Like, it's, I'm getting yelled at for wearing certain shit to the gym, and Sergeant Phillips, you need a haircut, and like, oh my god, dude. And I'm like, this is not me. All my deployments, I had never been. I was always on the move.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this is my 4th rotation, but we were always going. So, like, there was nowhere that was, like, really a home, I guess you would say. Yeah. Well, I can't say that. When we did my first Iraq deployment, we were stuck out of Al-Assad for a bit, but we were busy. So, at the same time, it was different, So, sitting out at Blessing, I mean, I was losing my damn mind.
Yeah.
Like, it was not, I mean, great gym. I loved working out. Like, that was phenomenal. I probably got 2 workouts in a day. It was great. Then I finally convinced Captain Meyer to let me go to Cop, Michigan.
Yeah.
Best decision ever. Get me away from the damn flagpole. It was awesome. So I get pushed out to Cop, Michigan, and there wasn't a whole bunch that happened there. There was like 2 or 3 nights, some ticks went off, but nothing crazy, And there was always this talk about doing Wanat, building a base in Wanat, building a base in Wanat, building a base in Wanat. We've been hearing this shit for the last year. nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Oh, we found the place and this, that, and the other, and it's gonna go and it's not gonna go for a fucking year, on and off, on and off, on and off. It was like whatever. So I had talked with Captain Meyer and I had outlined the plan that, because at this point my mortar section, there was 6 of us. It was Stanosky, Gilmore, Abad, Jesse Quick, me. I don't know, I guess there was 5 of us.
Yeah.
Unless I'm missing somebody. I hope I'm not missing anybody. I'd be one shitty leader. TBI's a bitch, guys.
Yeah. DTE's real.
Yeah, it's real. So anyways, Jesse Quick, Stanosky, and Abad were supposed to go to Wanat and stand that up, right? He was going to run the 120. I was going to stay out at Fob, Michigan. I had already promoted him E5 to E6. He was MLOC qualified. He was competent. Squared away, dude. I love Jesse Quick. Squared away fucking. I still contact him and ask him for advice on things. Like, dude's super smart. Great guy. Love him to death. So I had told Captain Meyer, I was like, Jesse's going to go out there. He's going to run the show. I have full confidence. I even told him, I was like, I'll be honest with you, sir. He's a better 11 Charlie than I am. Like, I was like, he's the guy. You want a mortarman? He is your guy. It is not me. I was like, I'm a damn war fighter. That's all I do. But so it ended up coming down, and then sure shit, the plan was set in stone. Everything was good to go. The night before, all the planning is happening. Everything's going. It's good. Like, I'm double tapping Jesse, I'm talking to him on the radio, all these weeks leading up to it, making sure that he's thinking about this, thinking about that, and, letting him know the different things, putting both of our heads together, letting him know train analysis from time I did go out there, all that shit. And then I'm in bed night before, everything kicks out 24 hours prior. I'm in bed at Michigan. Yes,
Real
sir.
quick. So paint the timeline for me. Right, for our listeners. So you and I know this is July of
2008.
Sorry, the CTE's real. So again, you have now, Ranch House happens in August
almost
of 2007.
A year.
Yes.
Yeah, almost a year prior.
So in the battalion, that's a whole different story. A lot of shit's going on in the battalion. Some other major firefights, quite frankly, for Chosen Company. That
in the same area as Aranis, too.
Exactly. And
so line across.
We are. I know over in Destin Company at this point, it's not every day, but I got guys in the Chow K, which is connected.
Damn near every day.
Yeah. Which is connected to the Korengal. And, oh, by the way, that's used to be primarily 3rd Platoon Chosen Company. But I'm rotating platoons through there because I can't keep just one platoon there the whole time. I mean, we're getting enemy contact, at least probing, daily. Yeah. And
especially at Chow K.
Yes, over a year. And this is across the entire battalion's footprint, to include Michigan, Battle Company and the Korengal, Able Company all along the Pesh River Valley, which is where Michigan is. And we're still trying to figure out how do we secure all the lines of communication. So that is one of the reasons why, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, that is one of the reasons why we keep looking at the Waygall, right? Because we're trying to extend the lines of communication. We're trying to protect the Pesh River Valley because we've spent all this money putting in this nice paved road to try to protect ourselves from IEDs and all that stuff, and to be able to get to COP Blessing or FOB Blessing out there where the battalion headquarters is. And so you're a battle-hardened motherfucker at this point, right? You've seen it now for an entire year. And Jesse and Stanosky, great fuckers, by the way. I love those guys. They've been through the shit. They are battle tested. They are hardened and they know what's going on. So the night before all of this unfolds, please.
Yeah. So it's I want to say it's around July 8th, July 9th. I'm out at Cop, Michigan. I'm in bed. When I say I'm in bed, I literally mean I'm in bed. I'm in my Ranger panties. I have my little small DVD player sitting on my chest,
Yep.
no t-shirt, and I'm watching the DVD to fall asleep, you know? Then all of a sudden the radio goes off, the little Motorola, and it was like, hey, Pocket Rocket 96, you're needed up here at the top. What the hell? Like, ah, bless, man. Are we getting hit again? Like, there's movement. Something's happening, right?
Yeah.
What was your call sign again?
I caught that too. That was a good one. I liked it.
Pocket Rocket.
Oh yeah.
Yep, sure was. So we. All right, I gotta bring it up. All right, so prior to deployment, previously it was just Chosen 9-6, right? Chosen 9 being the Fizzo, 9-6 being the mortar section sergeant, 9-5 being, the squad leader, so forth. But Battle Company had already had a history and already had a call sign, and their call sign was Money Shot. And it was the 60 tube, like they had earned it. They had earned it the previous year in the 07-06 deployment because their mortar team was always spot on. Like they were glorious. So they called them Money Shot, right? Well, battalion kept hitting us up. This is the buildup going to Afghanistan. Kept hitting us up and like, well, what's your call sign? What's your call sign? What's your call sign? So finally, I pulled the boys together and I was like, look, man. I was like, we can stick with the Chosen, or because you guys envy Battle Company so much, I will allow you guys to come up with your own call sign.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll let you do it, man. I was like, I'll fall in on it. It's going to be team effort. You guys come up with the call sign. So, in great infantry and paratrooper tradition, Dirty Boys, Dirty Mike and the boys came up with Pocket Rocket.
Yeah.
Because it's a 60 tube. It's small, so it's the Pocket Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we ended up sticking with. And at first, I'll tell you, man, battalion tried fighting that shit hard at first. Like, they were like, no, this ain't going to work. It ain't going to be it. No. I kept pushing back, kept pushing it to the side. Lo and behold, we got it.
Nice.
And now it has forever gone down in history as a call sign.
Yep.
Nobody can take that away, man. And I love that. I love that. Pocket Rocket 9-6 forever.
There you go.
All right, so I get the call, and it was like, "Hey, you're wanted up at the talk." I think it was Kemp who was sitting in the talk, who had called me at the time. And you know how he is. He's like all wiry. He's like, "Hey, Phil, man, they're on the radio for you. It's Chosen 6 wants you." I'm like, "All right, dude, calm down, buddy, calm down. Let me answer this." So I get on the horn, and I was like, "Hey, Chosen 6, this is Pocket Rocket 9-6, send your traffic." And that's when he tells me. He's like, "Hey, I've made the decision that I want you to pack up, you and your 2 mortarmen, pack up from there. I'm taking you guys with me to Wanat." And I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, you guys are like leaving tomorrow night." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Pack your shit, you're going." And, I sat there and I was on the radio. I was like, "Sir, we've built this plan out for the last, 4 weeks. The manifest is set. There's no reason, all the analysis, there's no reason to collapse all the mortars and take them all out and set them up into Wanat." I was like, we're pulling all of our firepower. We're going to leave, Michigan hanging out. But towards the end of this deployment, like a lot of it had kind of died down some as far as Michigan and Fortress. They weren't taking as much lickings. Even out in the Corn Gall, it had kind of died back a little bit, So for whatever reason, the decision was made like, "Hey, you're going out there." It's like, "All right, fuck it, whatever. It is what it is. Got it, boss. We'll pack up." So then, we pack up, and Destin had heard the calls on the radio, so they put together the convoy and everything. So then I'm pissed off that now we have to put dudes on the line to drive us all the way to Camp Blessing just to drop us off so that we could take off on this other mission that we weren't supposed to be on in the first place, So I got a little resentment going in right there. I'm already pissed off at the world over it. So lo and behold, it happens, goes without a hitch. Next night, we spend the next day prepping and mission brief after mission brief and making sure everything's straight, PCIs and PCCs, and doing everything that we're supposed to do before we punch out, get some sleep in, There was different talks of different shit, but nothing was concrete. It was the same thing, like, oh man, they're waiting for you guys to get out there. So after we had shut down Uranus, right, because you had Camp Blessing, and then pushing into Weigel, you had Camp Blessing, Wanat, Bella, Uranus, and then you got further north up to where 191 was. Cop Keating, that was the name of it. Cop Keating. Further north, right? So we had shut down Uranus. Then we shut down Bella. And now we're at Blessing. Yeah. So they wanted to go, we had given up everything between Blessing and Cop Keating. Everything in between there was now no man's land. They wanted to go back in there into Wanat and reestablish a foothold, which was to provide the lines of communication that Chris was talking about, to close in that gap between the north and the south. So that was the game plan, right? Cool. So we go in there, we set up, come in overnight, and I remember as we were driving in, like looking out the Humvee windows, and I was like, oh my God, if this fucking driver slides 1 inch to the left, I'm gone. Like, we're going to be tumbling down the side of this mountain. Because I had never driven out there before. We did 1 foot patrol, I think it was. And I'd flown by it a couple times, but I had never driven out there. Yeah, that was some asshole puckering. Let me tell you. Looking out that window, I was like, nah. All right, so we get out there, we set up the VPB at night, we get everything somewhat situated, and then the sun comes up, and we're at stand 2. And then, that morning twilight starts creeping in, and I just remember looking around. 360 fucking degrees of mountain ranges above us. Yeah. And not like at a distance to where it's like, oh, cool, you got to walk a click and there's a mountain range right there. No, I'm talking a couple 100 meters and there's a mountain range. A couple 100 meters, there's a mountain range. There's the river that flows through the center of the Weigel Valley. Yeah. Police stations on the other side of a massive spur that we were going to establish the OP on. Like it was a shit show.
So real quick, because I know you're about to get knee deep in the story, and I don't want to interrupt you there. So a lot of people I know that I've talked to have always had this question, and some of our listeners may as well. It's like you don't have to be Patton, you don't have to be Robert E. Lee or name or Sun Tzu.
I know where you're going.
to figure out that this is not the location that you pick as defensible terrain. And I'll tell everybody, my rebuttal always is from my perspective over in Destin Company. Okay, great. So what do you want as the tactical leader? You always want the high ground. Well, guess what? That high ground, it almost never stops, right? And so you find one piece of high ground, and then you realize once you get there, there's still more high ground further back. And the further back you go, when you finally get to the tippy top of the fucking highest piece of ground, you're so far removed from anything and everything that you actually need to do that you're pointless. It is absolutely pointless. So as leaders and as soldiers on the ground, we're put in this awkward position, this indefensible position of, okay, we have to be near the piece of terrain that we actually want to own. We have to be near the village that we're trying to get to help us, or that we're trying to help. And you end up in these awkward places, these positions that suck. Like Chowkay, one of the worst positions out there. But again, it's either all the way down in the bottom of the valley where all the people are, and then much like you're talking about with Wago, you're just surrounded 360 by high ground, or you keep kind of moving up and moving up and moving up, and you end up in quite frankly the no man's land of, okay, this is as good as it's going to get in order to be able to meet the mission. And so, yeah, I mean, all of these places that we're talking about, Blessing, a little bit better. You did have some open terrain there, but at least 180 degrees. It was right next to the base of the mountains, right?
Yep.
Yes, and that's a battalion. You're talking about a battalion-sized FOB. It was a no-win situation, is I guess what I'm trying to get at.
100%. And like looking back, you know, because we can always quarterback shit, right? That's what we do. We take the situations that we've been in and we analyze them, tear them apart, rip them 1,000 different ways, and then put it back together and see like we would have done the same thing, same outcome, so forth, right? Like that's what we do. Looking back, to be 1,000% honest, like I don't think there was really anywhere else that it could have been put. The thought process behind where it was being established, given what we knew and shit like that. Like I won't take it from anybody, man. They were working with the best that we were given. Bottom line, like that's just a fact. Yeah, it was just shitty. All right, so day of, right?
Yeah.
The meat and potatoes. Okay, so morning of. When all this shit kicked off, we had just gotten up. We were at stand 2, like the whole base. We're all at stand 2. All lessons learned, everything like that. Everything has been applied. We've been doing this shit for 15 months now. We got it. You know what I mean? After Ranch House, I thought I understood what this deployment could take from us. And Wanat told me that I didn't know jack shit, right? So sitting there, man, I wish I would have thought this through more, because I would have had like diagrams I could have drawn and pointed to shit, but you know. So real quick, like Wanat was kind of established in a circular formation, right? All right. So on that circular formation, the town of Wanat kind of was 180 portion of it. All right, and we were in an open field, which provided us an LZ and so forth. You had a hotel and a bazaar section that was in there as well. And then going up the mountains, up the terraces, you had a couple bondays, but they were abandoned. You know, like we had checked them out and so forth. So like I said, we infilled on the night of the 9th. So now it's the morning of the 10th, right? The morning of the 10th. So we're looking at what we got. And we're like, all right, well, now we gotta build a fucking fire base. Let's do this. So my focus, of course, is the mortar firing pit. I have a 60 and a 120 with me. So we walk the perimeter, me and Quick. We look at some different things, some different areas, and we figure out where we're going to establish this mortar firing pit, right? The 120 pit. So based off of what we had found and identified, we selected the best location for it, or at least what we thought was the best location. And it was across from the command truck and across from one of the gun trucks. I'm doing this real quick to kind of provide a better idea. Bizarre. Okay. This is kind of, so little breakdown. So this was the mortar firing pit. This is the bazaar around us, or I'm sorry, Wanat was all the way around us. This is where the command truck was, and this is where Sergeant Benton's gun truck was set up. The OP's over here on the other side of the bazaar. We have another gun truck that's set up over here, and then one of your tow trucks from Destin Company was set up here to block this main avenue of approach.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of like a little rundown to give you guys a general idea, and for the listeners to get a better idea of what that looked like. And then as I hit certain points, I'll bring it back up and point it out.
Yeah.
All right. So I was at the mortar pit. We were at stand 2. Abad was actually going to be flying out that day. He was going home early. He had gotten his girl that he was dating at the time pregnant, and we went through hell and high water to assist him to try to get married while in Afghanistan, this, that, and the other, so that way she could have medical coverage and everything she needed for the baby while he was on this 15-month deployment.
Yeah.
So when it came time to give up names for guys that I wanted to rotate out on the first lift, well, I wanted him to go home and be with his new wife and his soon-to-be baby, right? So he was my number one guy to go out. Yeah, he was my number one guy to go out. So we're standing there. We're in the mortar pit. I remember I'm standing because we had Hesco's 2Ls built on the front of my mortar pit and then the back wall. They were full of Hesco's. So we had, I think they were 5-footers that were the front and the side walls, the main entry. And then my back one was one of the 10-footers. Okay. And so we did have a Bobcat that was there. We did have an engineer team that was dropped off as well that helped us. So they were using the Bobcat to fill the Hesco's as much as they could. We ended up running, so the squiggly line was the concertina wire. We ended up running around the perimeter. It was triple strand is what we ended up running. Yeah. Around the gun trucks and the mortar firing point and so forth. Up at the OP, they built the OP, they dug it in, filled sandbags, the whole shebang. All right, so now it's 13 July. We're up, we're standing there. I remember standing at the entryway. Abad was standing beside me, smoking a cigarette. I think it was Chavez next to him. Gilmore and Jesse were inside the mortar pit, and Zwick had just walked up. He had taken over 2nd Platoon because 2nd Platoon lost their platoon sergeant back in January due to a ANA guy. Yeah, ended up killing him. So Zwick, who I was working with again, is the platoon sergeant of 2nd Platoon now. So last firefight, Ranch House, was with 1st Platoon, by the way. Yeah. Now, because I'm mortar section sergeant, right, I end up working with all these. Now I'm with 2nd Platoon. So what? Ranch House was with 1st Platoon. The 9 November ambush was 1st Platoon, and then 13 July was 2nd Platoon. So, and then 26 January was when they lost their platoon sergeant. So we're sitting there, I'm standing there, and, you know, typical stuff. I got my arms on my IBA, my kit, and I'm holding my plates, and I'm standing there, and I'm talking to the boys, and I'm giving Abad a bunch of shit. You know, you turd, you're going home. The rest of us are going to sit out here and suck turds and yada, yada, yada. You know, just basic infantry shit talking, whatnot. Some calls start coming across the radio that, hey, they've identified some movement up at a Bondi. Because, like I said, we're at stand 2. So, you know, everybody's up on guard. People are doing their piece. You know, I'm prepping my dudes because we're the mortar firing point. I got a dude standing by the LHMBC, and then I got a dude standing by on the gun. The rest of us are ready to hang rounds. You know, like there's not a big piece force. The platoon sergeant walked in because he was doing his rounds, checking on everybody, make sure they're doing the right thing. So he just walks up as the calls are coming across the radio that they've identified what appears to be 4 to 5 military-aged males with backpacks and weapons on the North Ridge inside the Bondi. Like, that's very specific. Like, oh, shit. All right. So I turned to my gunner and I was like, hey man, go ahead, shift the tube, lay in on that target, because I had it laid in as a target already. I was like, lay in on that building. That's target such and such. I had him lay in on it. Captain Myers was like, hey, you know, just lay in on it, don't fire anything. Gonna reposition the tow truck because we are getting PID on the personnel and the weapons. Let's hit it with a single shot. It's like, all right, cool. So we stood down, tow truck's repositioning. Everything, you know, we're still at the entryway, tow truck's repositioning. And then, like, in a fucking moment's notice, all hell broke loose. Like, it was, holy fuck, man. It was like legitimately, I can't describe it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just all hell erupted. Again, initial burst, or what I recall is the initial burst coming through, went right down the center of the mortar pit. Abad was hit right off the rip. He collapsed right there in front of us. The rest of us had pulled off to the inside. Chavez grabbed Abad, pulled him back behind the cover. Chavez immediately started working with him, and immediately I started getting to sit rep. Like, what do we got? What's going on?
Yeah.
The tow truck was getting hammered. I mean, I was watching RPG after RPG after RPG come in at that damn thing. RPG after RPG was coming in at the fucking mortar pit. Like, it was insane. There was, like, from where I was sitting, from the mortar pit, like I was talking about, like, as I was up and around these Hescos, I could see all this shit going on over here. I see explosions happening at the OP. I see the tow truck shit being lit up, which was over here. I see them getting lit up. I see Benton's truck, shit's kicking all over the place. I see from the mosque, I see contact, muzzle flashes coming out. From the bazaar, there's people inside of it. Like, it was, they were on top of us. Like, right fucking on top of us. Couldn't believe it. So, this first few minutes, I just remember it was like, fuck, here we go again. That honestly, that's what hit me in the head. Like, right in the face was like, here we go again.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, I just started telling dudes, I was like, return fire, because one of the shitty portions is that because we only had a Bobcat and we had 10-foot Hescos for my back wall, those 10-foot Hescos were not full.
Yeah.
And I knew that. So there was rounds coming through the Hescos, impacting into my fucking mortar rounds, and you could hear them. You could hear it, ping, 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 ping. And it was like, fuck my life.
Yeah.
So it was knowing that it was only a matter of time before we were fucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lack of better terms. So I remember we were able to get a couple rounds off. I think like 2 or 3. I want to say it was Queck and Chavez, or Queck and Gilmore. There wasn't a lot that we could do for Abad at the point in time where we were, because we were getting hit so hard that nobody could specifically be handed off to evaluate, assess, and treat.
Yeah.
We couldn't even find a fucking wound. We didn't even know where he was hit. Like, we just knew he was expiring. We didn't know shit. So we were there. We were fighting for a bit. I think it was Queck or Gilmore, one of the two. I mix it up sometimes, but we were always making jokes because of the shit we went through Ranch House, and again the reports that were coming that Wanat was going to be overran and this, that, the other. You know, same shit I had faced at Ranch House for 5 fucking months. But the difference was we took it serious, right? So it was like, hey, we know how to plan for this shit. It's happened before. So yeah, within that first 24 hours, we had triple strand concertina wire. Within the first 72 hours, we had fighting positions dug, sandbagged in. Like, we had established ourselves fairly well for the, 96 hours that we had been on the ground for this shit to open up. Were there some shortcomings? Absolutely. Supplies were still a bitch getting them out to us. We found out we weren't the priority, and it was what it was. It's basic infantry shit. You get handed a a 5-gallon bucket and you're told here's 30 pounds of shit, make it work.
Yep.
And that's what we do, you know. That's why we have the greatest military in the fucking world. It is what it is. We make it work. So yeah, there was things that could have been done better and shit like that as we talk about it. But so I'm watching the tow truck get lit the hell up. Shit's coming in from all around us. Oh yeah. So Gilmore or Queck, I don't remember which one it was, but because of what had happened previously and as close as the village was on top of us, one of them had an AT-4 and kept making a joke like, oh yeah, when they hit us, I'm sending this AT-4. Oh, that house right there, that's the one that's getting it. You know what I mean? Kept making this joke, whatever. And I'm like, motherfucker, you'll never get the round off. And, you know, we were just BSing and whatnot. Those funny moments again. Well, I don't remember which one it was, right? It was either Queck or Gilmore, one of the two. One of them fires off the AT-4. And he lets us know, like, AT-4! And he, boom, sets that bitch off. The other one was pissed because he was the one who had brought the AT-4 all the way from Blessing, packed it in, made sure it was fit, brought it into the mortar firing point, and that his whole purpose was he wanted to fire the AT-4.
Nice.
So when the one fired the AT-4, the other one went off on his ass. That was fucking mine! Blah, blah. They sounded like two little hens going off, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up and throw grenades. Like, I was like, I don't give a fuck about the AT-4. The AT-4 is nothing to me right now. But it was, you know, one of those funny moments. Yeah. So, you know, they were going off. So we're throwing hand grenades over the backside of the mortar firing pit. You know, I can hear the dudes running back there. I can hear the way the AKs are going off. I can hear that motherfucker's close. Like they're on top of us again. Finally, we get pinpointed pretty good. 2 RPGs came into the mortar firing pit. One of them hit, and when it hit, I was watching it come, and I turned to tell the guys, the RPG hit the ammo cans in front of me, put me back on my ass, and then that was the one that peppered my face, my hands, and put my M4 in up. Like the fucking blast just folded my M4 over. So at that point in time, I didn't have a gun either. And as I come to and I sit back up, I see that the fucking mortar firing point is on fire. So the RPG, when it impacted into the rounds, and it lit some cheese charges on fire because it went right into a case. And when the I don't know how rounds didn't cook off. I don't understand physics. I'm just happy to God that it didn't, because we had red phosphorus there. I had HE there. I had it was all separated the way it's supposed to be and all that shit. But there was nowhere else to put stuff. So I had it all. If it would have went, that would have definitely made the news. But anyways, so then I had to make the call that we had to pull out of the mortar firing point. And I was like, hey guys, we need to move. We need to move now. Yeah. I made a call to, so when we established the 120 pit, I went with the concept of a hide and shoot, right? As a mortar section sergeant, I had the 60 get placed off separately. We had settled the base plate, everything, got the tube in, and then we removed the tube and just left the base plate there, and we had a couple aiming stakes that were out. All we had to do was level up and we'd be good to go to use it in the event that we lost the 120 pit, right? So due to the shit we had faced previously, I did come up with a plan for it.
Yeah.
A plan that didn't fucking work. But it was a plan. It was a fucking plan. But for anybody who comes in later and they're like, well, you pulled the 60, why didn't you go to the 60? Yeah, well, yeah. It was a plan that wasn't completely thought out. Exactly. I'll eat that one later too. So we end up having to abandon the 120 pit and push back to the closest covered position was the command truck, which was on the opposite side where the mortar firing pit is. The command truck was on the opposite side by this busted down building. It was only partially constructed. That's where the command truck and the tow truck at this point in time is parked right about here. Yeah. Okay. So it's about right here getting lit the fuck up repeatedly. My position's on fire, and we have to move across this open ground to get over here. And we're probably looking at 15, 20 meters, not that far, right?
Yeah.
Of completely open ground while you're getting barraged from 360 degrees.
Yeah.
So, seemed like a goddamn lifetime trying to run across there for the second time. I was like, oh my God, here we go again. So, Chavez was my bigger dude. He got real heavy into lifting during that rotation, so he was pretty stout. And I told him, I was like, all right, man, you pull a bod. You're the bigger dude. You're the stronger dude. Throw him over your shoulders. When we go, we go. We got ready. Everybody was ready. And then I made the call. I was like, all right, are we set? We set. And I was like, go. Again, I don't know if I got too excited or what the case is, but I remember counting, and then it was like, yep, boom, go. And somehow I beat everybody into the other position and started counting them back in. I don't fucking know. They didn't move fast enough for my ass on round 2, I guess. But so I started counting people back in, and I was shy. Sarnos was on the receiving end, and he helped me count people in, and I was like, we're missing two. And somebody came through, I don't remember who it was, but they said that Chavez got hit while he was carrying a bod. I was like, fuck. Because now not only do I have 2 out there, but one of them is the big guy that I chose because I wanted him to carry the little guy. So Oss runs out. Me and Oss are sitting there at the edge of the command truck. He's like, all right, man, you ready? We're going to get him. You ready? Fuck it, go. So he ran and grabbed a bod, and I grabbed Chavez. Well, because Chavez had put on weight and he had gotten nice and stocky, I took off the run with him. My legs came out from under me. I came down on my neck, holding on to his plate carrier. Wow. I was like, oh my God. Dude, what did you eat? So then I turn and I have to double leg drag him backwards as fast as I can with the duck pedal. You know what I mean? The duck pedal. Like, You know, his shit's impacting all around us. I finally get him over to the command position, and we're sitting down. I got him down, and we're talking. I'm like, all right, man, where you hit? What you got going? He got a through and through on from his right side. RPK went right through his right thigh, right through his left thigh, hit both of his legs. He collapsed. The bod collapsed. Oss brought in a bod. I brought in Chavez. We were sitting there. We were talking to him. We were treating him. You know, talking, fighting the fight, doing what we're doing. I remember I was sitting there, and I'm hearing everything that's going on the radio, and I'm hearing what's happening up at post 2, or I mean, OP topside with Ryan. So something that I haven't talked about is prior to the deployment, there were certain dudes that Stefan was close with, right? Yeah. Like I said, Stefan was my buddy. He's the reason I ended up in the 173rd. He knew the type of person I was because he worked for me for 5 years before he went over there. So if he told me a dude was good, then a dude was good. You know what I mean? Like I took it at face value. So there were certain dudes in 2nd platoon, because that's where Stefan was with 2nd platoon before he went to 3rd platoon. Once he made E6, they moved him to 3rd platoon, and then he was out at Chow K. So prior to that, once he went to 3rd platoon, then he could officially hang out with the dudes from 2nd platoon, right? So some of his drinking buddies were from 2nd platoon. So prior to the deployment, I got in really close with a lot of 2nd platoon dudes because Stefan was the only dude I knew. So I hung out with all his friends. So I'm pretty close to Ryan, and he's the guy I'm hearing on the other side of the radio talking to the commander, right? Yeah. So it's my friend that I'm listening to on the other side, and he's talking about how, you know, they're losing the position and shit's bad and this, that, the other, and he's talking about a few things, and he's giving sit reps, and I'm sitting here trying to treat a bod while all this is going on, and I'm hearing what's going on, and I think it was Scantlin who came in, he was going through the 18 Delta program, got into it with one of his instructors, got relieved from the Q course. And you know, when you get these kids, when you're in the 80 Deuce and 173rd, and you hear their stories, and you're like, yeah, you and every other sorry son of a bitch we get from the Q course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Scantlin was squared the fuck away.
It
And
was.
thank God that he did make it all the way to fucking Sockham at the end of it. And he mouthed off to somebody, because his skill sets that he acquired in the 18 Delta course is what saved a lot of fucking lives that day. And I will attribute that to him. And especially after working with Special Forces medics now, and seeing the things that I've seen and knowing what I know. Yeah, he probably did get booted out for his mouth. I know him, you know, like looking back, now I know his story. Looking back, I'm like, yeah, it probably happened just as he said. He's a squared away dude, and he knew his shit. He would have been a Green Beret. I have no doubts in my mind. He would have been. But so I hand off Abad to Scantlin, because I couldn't find an exit wound. I couldn't find shit. There was nothing I could do. I'm doing CPR. I couldn't no more. You know what I mean? I fucking couldn't. So I handed him off to Scantlin, and I was like, hey, man, see what you can do and what you got going. I go over to Chavez, and, you know, I talk to Chavez, like, what you got, man? What's happening? And he starts, you know, telling me about his round. And this is going to kind of go like Ranch House. Like, all the timeline and all this shit is like, fuck, man. I don't know. So Chavez is like, he's like, oh, just tell me, Sergeant. Just tell me that apologies again. Just tell me, Sergeant. Just tell me they didn't shoot my dick off. Just tell me they didn't shoot my dick off. And this is written about in the book. So he talks about this in the book, the Chosen Few. It's outlined in there. Like, it's, again, another one of those moments captured in history, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, dude, just don't move. I got a knife. I pull out my knife. I was like, I'm going to cut your pants open. I'll check your dick, man. Just don't move, dude. Don't move, because I don't want to stab you.
That's a real friend right there.
I'll tell you, but don't move. So sure shit, you know, I take my knife, I stab it through his pants, I fillet open his pants, I rip it open, and I'm like, and then I look down, and I was like, all right, dude, so good news, you still got your dick, you still got your balls, you're not shut off. I was like, bad news, you need to fucking trim your jungle, man. Like, it became another laughing moment, right?
Yeah.
Another one of those moments.
Crazy.
I was like, dude, all I see is a turtle head poking out of the swamp, and it ain't working, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he starts laughing too. He starts laughing, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Sergeant Phil. I'm so sorry. I was like, nah, you don't need to be sorry, man. Just, dude, the women ain't going to like that. And, you know, we're talking and whatnot. So, you know, another one of those funny moments come through. And then Captain Meyer tells me, he's like, hey, I think the tow truck's in trouble.
Yeah.
And so where we were sitting, like I said, where the tow truck is kind of like off to this side, and then the half moon, the squiggly half moon, right? So the tow truck was over here. There was firing over here on this mountain ridge. This half moon was like sandbag walls, and then we had put a camouflage canopy across top there. So this sandbag wall kind of connected to the front of the command truck and the back of this wall. So the tow truck was here. Those guys, the plan was, I had somehow communicated to them that they were going to come out of their truck and jump over this fucking wall, and I would receive them there. And I would count them in. Like, that was the game plan, right? Because they just like the mortar pit, but they were pinned inside of this truck. The truck was already on fire by this point in time. So I was yelling to them like, hey, truck's on fire, just get the fuck out. I'm like handing arm signals. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. So they start coming out. One by one, they're running. I'm snatching them through. And I think the last one to come at me was May. I think it was May. I grabbed May. It was either May or Davis. One of the two, I don't know. But I pulled them through, and just as I did, and it was the last man to come through, that fucking truck exploded.
Yeah.
Shit.
Boom.
Yeah, all the tow missiles in there, they weren't able to get a single tow off. It happened like Eric was saying. It was like that. They immediately started targeting Erich at the mortar pit, simultaneously targeting the tow truck at the same time.
And the OP.
And they were never able to get a single tow missile off.
Damn.
So you had what, 3 tow missiles, I think, in the back?
Yep.
Yeah.
3 in the back and 1 in the tube.
Yeah. So.
Jeez. Yeah, so four tow missiles go off, explode in this fucking truck. Honestly, I truly attribute that explosion to my TBI. Like, I've never been the same since then.
Yeah.
And then you add in all the door kicking and door charges. And I just didn't, it just never fully recovered.
Yeah.
It just got worse from there.
Yeah.
But when that truck exploded right after I pulled the last dude in, and I just remember when it went, I just remember like I pulled him in. He was sitting in. I still had my hands on the back of his kit, and I was leaning over him. And I just remember when it exploded, just looking over at the truck and it just being engulfed in flames, and my head just being like, oh man, it's like when you stand up too fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stand up too fast and you get lightheaded and you're like, oh, let me hold on to something real quick.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good sensation, but an odd sensation. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what happened. Like, I was like, holy fuck, what just happened? And then, it just, I will say it's similar to what they show in the movies, and it just all comes back together and everything's fucking erupting again. It's like, oh shit, yeah, this is still happening.
Yeah.
So we had gotten those dudes in. By that point, we had taken a couple injured from those dudes as well. I don't think anybody got hit coming through. I think maybe their injuries might have been assaulting up the hill with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so at that point, that's when I heard Ryan's last call on the radio. I was sitting right there. The big piece, the one that everybody wants to hear about. Okay, so the tow truck explodes, right? So I was still sitting over the one dude. Then all of a sudden, you hear this tumbling through the air, like I'm thinking it's a 107 coming in, something like that. Like, fuck, here we go again. And it just comes through the top of the canopy. It almost lands in my lap. Boom! It's a fucking tow missile.
Damn, dude.
Like, holy shit. Well, for anybody who's ever fired a tow missile, when you get in there, you're in your system, you get it all spun up, it's ready to go. You click fire, and it's not like a regular gun where it goes, and it goes.
Yeah.
You click fire, and then you start hearing this nice little spin up that's off to your right hand side, and it lets you know that missile's about to go.
Yep.
Well, when this fucker landed in the center, I start hearing the zzz, and I was like, oh, fuck my life.
Jesus, dude.
So, at that point in time, I mean, it's hot metal, and everybody, this is the only spot we have for a CCP. Dudes were like, oh, we gotta go, it's gonna blow. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I just grabbed it, I picked it up, and I fucking ran. I ran out into the center of the base. So I came out from there, and I ran all the way halfway to the mortar firing pit, and I just fucking threw it. And then I turned around and ran back. And
God damn.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I don't know. Like, a lot of times people are like, dude, like, what the hell went through your head? And all I remember, like, no bullshit, man. It was instinct. It was a reaction, whatever people want to say. But all I remember is it landing. I look at Abad, who's already expiring. I look at Chavez, who's through and through on his leg. I got 2 medics here. I just received all these dudes from the other truck, and I'm like, there's nowhere for these guys to go.
Yeah.
There's fucking nowhere. So it's one or the many, right? At least that was my thought process. It's like, it's gonna fucking go. It's gonna go, baby. Damn. So I picked it up and I ran with it. And then once I threw it and I got back, like, that I guess that's where the realization hit me, because everybody was like, what the fuck did you just grab that and run? I was like, yeah, let's go. What's next? Yeah. And then getting bored. That's what the Silver Star write-up's for, is grabbing a armed tow missile and tossing it out in the fucking open and doing dumb shit, right? Yeah. So then that's when the radio call come across, and Chosen 6 is being talked to by 9-3, which was Ryan. Was it Ryan or 9-2? I'm sorry, 9-2. 9-2 was Ryan, and I don't know the exact wording, but you know, it haunts me to this day. But it sounded very similar to, "Hey, this is a Chosen 9-2. I'm signing off the radio. They're all around me. I can hear them talking. I can hear them moving. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here before I'm discovered. I'm going to maintain radio comm silence. Everybody's gone. Everybody's gone. It's just me."
God, dog.
And when I heard that, my heart sank. You know what I mean? It was like, oh fuck, like that's my buddy. That's my friend. And that was when Captain Meyer looked at me and he's like, "I need you to go up top." I was like, "Okay, how do I get there?" Because we'd only been on the ground 72 hours.
Yeah.
No, this is the fourth morning. This is the fourth morning. So my priority has been establishing the mortar firing pit, getting that set up, getting the outer perimeter established. I never got to see where the fucking OP was. Mistake of mine looking back. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you know, it's what, like we were saying before, we can quarterback shit all day. You know what I mean? But I never got to see where the OP was. So I was like, I need somebody to tell me where it is. And I didn't have a weapon because my M4 was dead. So Cap Meyer, he says, "I don't have an M4 either. Here's my pistol." So yet again, here I am with a fucking M9 Beretta.
It's incredible, bro. I was like, did anybody ever use pistols in combat?
Yeah.
You can't make this shit up, bro. All right. I forgot about that until just now, like telling these two stories back to back. It's like, holy shit, that happened twice. All right. So we developed a quick game plan. I was like, all right, dudes who were able to move from that position, we're going to make movement over to Benton's truck, grab a couple more, push over to Gobble's truck, get a quick brief from them, and then grab what guys I could from them, and then going from Gobble's truck straight into the OP. So we got everybody ready. I think I had I ended up charging up there with like 9 or 10 dudes all together. Yeah. Like it was a full-on squad that I ended up going up there with. We ended up going up there. I won't say we went up there. But another funny moment, right? So we pushed from the Command Vic to Benton's truck, right? We get to his truck, and I'm sitting there, and we know they're inside the bazaar because we're fucking getting our asses handed to us from there. We know they're inside the village because we're getting our asses handed to us there. And I was like, okay, now I have to cross this fucking road. You know, I got to cross this open space again, and I'm running right into this damn village. I know I'm gonna get lit up. I was like, this is the one, boys. This is the one that's gonna get me. So I grabbed smoke. I was like, boom, cover, concealment. I'm gonna conceal us. Grab smoke, pull the pin. I'll never forget this, man. I look at my watch and I was like, all right, I'm gonna pop this smoke. 15 seconds after it goes, then we go. Give it time to billow. Give it time to billow. I throw the smoke towards the bazaar, so that way, because the way the winds were blowing, it would push it all the way across the village, from the bazaar clear across to the mosque. So it was like the wind was perfect. There were certain things that aligned for us. I won't lie, you know, it wasn't a complete shit show. So the wind was blowing perfect. So as the smoke can's going and whatnot, it's coming across, and the guys were like, all right, let's go. And I was like, no, stop. I'm watching my watch, man, for no shit, 15, 20 seconds. Like I'm watching second by second. And then finally we hit the time, and I'm like, all right, go, go, go. So we haul ass over there. And that's when we moved over to the backside of the bazaar, which is where there was another position. This is where Gobble had ended up pushing to. And this position is what supported OP top side the majority of the way.
Hey, Eric, real quick, if I can.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Jerry, I know you're going to have to jump out at some point. I think it's coming up here soon.
Mhm.
So whenever you need to jump out, just jump out.
I'll just slide off, man.
Yeah,
I'll just
we'll
slide
be
off.
good.
Yep. Yep.
Sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. So then at that point, the smoke billowed, and I was like, all right, go, 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 go. So then we run over to that corner, right? And then as we're approaching that corner, I see Gobble and his dudes are sitting inside that fighting position. McKeag is there. He's hitting the leg. I see Stafford. I can see most of the guys, right? They're right there as I come up to them. But they're in a position like 45 from me because I'm up against the wall from the bazaar, right?
Yeah.
So like my back's up against this building. Over here to my right at this point in time, to my right is the command vehicle and the position I just left. On my left-hand side is the village and the OP just slightly up the hill, right?
Yeah.
So shit's coming from every fucking direction, the way it's coming in. I'm talking to these guys because they're sitting across the 45 from me with my back against the wall. I got dudes all lined up right here. I'm asking, where's the OP? Where's the OP? And they're like telling me, they're like, oh, yeah, I think it was McKeag. McKeag's like, it's right over there, Soren. It's right over there. So I get up to the edge of the wall so that I can take a peek and see where this OP is, right? So I think it was Gilmore was posted there. So I tell him, I'm like, hey, pull back a little bit. You know, I got my rifle and I'm kind of like poking around the side. I'm trying to see where the OP is. And all of a sudden that fucking wall gets lit up. Dust kicks over and I'm like, oh, okay, not going there. Not going that way. Then there was, I'm going to keep this nice. I'll keep it nice and professional.
Really? You're going to keep it professional now?
All right, fuck it. I won't. All right. So we had part of the entity that was with us were these two Marines, right? They seemed like little studs. It was E6 and an E5. They seemed like they were in shape, little studs. They had a 240 that was free. So they're a part of the crew that I grabbed when I got to Benton's position. They had a 240. I wanted that 240 to maneuver with me, so I had firepower when we got up to the OP topside.
Yeah.
Well, it was their 240, so I said, hey, you're the machine gun crew. You fucking carry your 240. When we got up to the wall, there was some whining is the best way to put it.
Debate?
Best way to put it. Oh, yeah, we'll say debate. If you want to call it debate.
A little bit of a debate?
Of if this high-speed person could continue to carry the 240 under the conditions in which we had to maneuver.
Yeah.
And those were the words coming out of his mouth, not mine.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay. I looked around real quick. Oh, Gilmore, grab that 240. I don't want this motherfucker to have it, somewhere along those lines. And so Gilmore grabbed it, and Gilmore was like, I'll gladly take it. And then McKeag was the one who was giving me directions to where OP topside was.
Okay.
And he was hitting the leg, and I was like, look, man, I can't get over there. You know, I can't even take a look. I was like, do you know a route? And he's like, yes, I can get you there. I was like, can you get us there safely? Can we get everybody there? Yeah. And he's like, yes, Soren, I can get everybody there. And then that's when I saw he was hitting the thigh. Like beforehand, he was inside of the fighting position, so I didn't know he was hit. I just knew he was talking to me. And then when he starts coming out, I was like, no, you're not fucking taking me. You're hitting the leg, dude. Like, you can't take me. I don't remember. He might have ended up being the one to take me at the end. I don't remember, because there was some spit spatter back. I could do it with her. And I was like, fuck it, let's go type thing. Yeah. So anyways, so I start making way towards OP topside. He did, man. He found a perfect little spot to maneuver, the way the terraces were outlined and built in, the way OP topside was set up, and the rock ledges that was built around it. We used a lot of the natural terrain, and then it was just perfect how we could get there. Like, the walls and the terraces were just high enough to give us cover to where we could see that they're impacting where they are shooting at us.
Right, but they couldn't. Yeah. You're still good.
I think I lost you.
No, you're good.
Lost sound. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, I got yes.
All right, I'll keep going then. So the terraces were high enough to where we could see the rounds impacting across as we were crawling. We could see them hitting here on the dirt. Then as I approached OP top side, you could see the guys on the far side, but they couldn't see us good enough because they couldn't hit around the rocks, right? So they're pounding into the rocks. And so we make it up to OP top side. And like I was making my approach. I was number one dude to come up. I remember OP topside was set up in a circular position. They had the rock walls. Then they had all the sandbags that was built and stacked up around the side using a lot of the rock walls as a part of their portion. And then the only thing that was really open was down on the terrace to the back of the bazaar. So it was easy to cover with one man, one gun, right? Like it was easy to cover because the way the natural foliage or rock ledges were. So as I come running up, again, I see a little hole from where the sandbags had made, right, where they had a 1x6 across, and they had made their little firing hole. There's sandbags all around, and then a 1x6, and then sandbags on top. So I come running up with this pistol, and I dive through this hole. I laugh about it because Ryan Pitts, he always tells me, him and Sean Samaru, they're always like, dude, all I remember is hearing you say, I'm coming in. And then all of a sudden this guy dives through this little hole with a pistol and he comes out and looks around like, all right, what's going on? Yeah. So hearing those guys talk about it, it's hilarious. Yeah. But yeah. So then I got up there, and then that's when evaluating the situation is like, holy shit. It's bad. It's real bad. I didn't realize at the time, you know, but it was probably not in the mental aspect, but as far as shit that I've been through, it was by far the worst event that I'd gone through in my life. You know, took me a long time to realize that. For the longest time, I fought myself, and I was always like, nah, Ranch House was the worst. Even though we didn't lose anybody, but Wanat was shitty, man. I remember getting up there, and there was just either dude's wounded and laid up, or dude's gone. Dudes who had already passed away.
Yeah, that's fucking rough.
So I wasn't the first wave to go up there and get the OP topside. I was actually the third wave of people who went up there.
Yeah.
The first wave, if I'm not mistaken, was Hovader and Brostrom.
Yes. I believe that's
the way it shows up there at some point.
That's the way it shows in the report.
And then at some other point, both of them were taken away, were killed in combat. And then came Samaru's team, and his squad that went up there was wave 2. And then wave 3 was me and the guys that I was able to grab to get up there. So immediately we start, I start repositioning people, you know, just same rinse and repeat, just like I did at Ranch House, reposition people for security, make sure they got ammo, putting the 249, 240 where they could best support what we got going on as far as engagements. Yeah. I remember laying next to Gilmore and just having him let that 240 rip all into that hotel because you just kept seeing flash after flash after flash. Like they were in every room of that damn hotel firing out and engaging at us. And then finally we got air supports in, air assets came in.
So about what time?
Some gun runs came through.
How long is this going on?
Got nothing, sir. So at some point, it was actually before I went up to OP topside, the first gun run came through. Because I remember thinking, holy shit, they just hit OP topside just like they had to hit Ranch House. And then I remember once I got up there, it was when I seen they didn't hit OP topside. They were hitting on the other side of it, but there was just everything the way it was. So now we're mid-engagement, you know. Things kind of got a little quiet after we made it up there. It was like it started to die down. I was like, oh shit, it's over. So yeah, all right, cool. So we started making calls to get medevacs in because then we started. All right, this dude's gone. That dude's gone. Brostrom's gone. Hovader's gone. Rainey's gone, Willing's gone, Phillips gone, Ayers gone. It was like, holy shit. Having to move them all to the side. I spoke with Garcia for a bit. When I got to him, he was still good. I won't go into all the complete details for personal reasons, but spoke to him. He wanted me to tell his wife, to let her know, hey, I love her, let her know I miss her, all that good stuff. I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner, but
Yeah.
you know. So then, as things continued on, and the fire died down, we got some medevac birds in, so we were able to start medevacing people. We got some of the dudes in. No, so the first QRF came through. And there was kind of a lull in fire. Like everything just kind of died down a little bit. And it was first platoon
Okay.
coming in. And it was Sergeant Stockard and his guys who had arrived with their gun trucks. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, sweet. Because you could hear them coming down the road, man. All the guns
Yeah.
firing off. It's like, yes, more big guns. I love it. So everything kind of died down a bit, and it was awesome. Then some other additional people got pushed up to OP topside to reinforce me. So once those guys started coming in, I started repositioning those guys, and then we had the OP locked in good. Next thing I know, I got Stockard up there and a couple other dudes, and then all of a sudden it erupted again. It was like halftime was over, and everything just started coming in again, like just as hard as it came in the first time. Shit impacting off the rocks around us, RPGs going off left and right, hand grenades coming over, and fucking there was a hand grenade inside, and Captain Meyer grabbed it and threw it right the fuck back. Like, it was just, it was game on again,
Yeah.
I remember we were sitting there and RPG came in. It was Stockard and Beeson sitting across from me. Shit was coming in real heavy, so we were like posted up, letting it come in for a second before we could find positions to engage from. We're leaning back, and all of a sudden, boom, another RPG hits the wall, and I see Stockard and Beeson just fall over. And I was like, oh, shit, we just lost the first sergeant. Because Sergeant Stockard sat up real quick. So I was like, okay, cool, he's good. But First Sergeant Beeson didn't really move for a second.
Yeah.
took an extra second. And then when he sat up, he was like, oh, God. He just had this look on his face like, oh, shit, that just happened.
Yeah.
And I was just like, woohoo, First Sergeant's still with us. And, things kept going, and it was going. And it seemed like we were up there for an eternity, just still fighting, not gaining any ground, but just holding them off. Then I remember at one point in time, Sergeant Stockard, he was smiling, and as he's throwing hand grenades, I was like, Sergeant Stockard, what are you smiling about? And he's looking at me, he pulls a pin, releases the spoon, and he's like, where the fuck's the re-enlistment NCO when you need him? And I just, I was dying laughing. I was like, yeah, where is he? I don't know that I'd sign up again right now, but
I'd definitely take it.
So, and it just kept going and going. And then finally, the AH-64s came in enough, and then we got some 47s that came in, and then we got casualties out, and we were able to get the dead out. And everything kind of like slowly started to die down,
Yeah.
And then it came out. That's when at the end of it, it was like, hey, we lost a total of 9.
Yeah.
And that's when my fucking heart sank, like I didn't realize that a bod had expired. I knew he was going, but I had hoped that something would have been able to be done. So we had lost him. It was Hovader, Brostrom on that first wave that went in. Garcia right there talking to me.
Yeah.
And Bogar, Rainey's, Willing, Phillips, Ayers, they all fought their asses off until they couldn't no more. So that point in time, like battalion came in and everybody wanted to come in and check on us and talk to us and whatnot. And I remember Sergeant Major Myers coming up to me, and he come up to me and he put his hand around me on my shoulder, you know, and it was him standing here, and then Colonel Oslin was right next to him talking to Captain Meyer, and Sergeant Major Myers was like, he's like, "How you doing, Sergeant Phillips?" And I didn't really know what he meant. You know what I mean? I didn't like. So I started telling him. I was like, it's like, well, the boys took a hard one, Sergeant Major. I was like, Ranch House was one thing, but this one, the boys took a hard one. I was like, but they fought their asses off. They did really well. I was like, we all took some losses, and he just kind of gave me that, you know, that senior mentorship squeeze.
Yeah.
That only an older man can give, you know.
Yeah.
He gives me that little squeeze, and he's like, "No, son, how are you doing?"
Yeah.
And you know, up to that point, I had never had anybody truly look down and care enough to ask me that.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm Destin 6. I'm over across the Cunard River at Camp Joyce now. But kind of one of our side missions for the battalion is we're the ground QRF for just about anybody, because we're the heavy weapons company. We got the vehicles, we got the most vehicles, all that. And I remember, I'll never forget that day. I was not in your position by any means, but it will always be a day that I will always remember as well, because the entire time, you know, I'm trying my best talking with I wasn't talking with Rock 6. I think it may have been Rock 3 or Rock 5, the S3 or the XO, saying, "Hey, I'm ready to. We're fucking ready to go. Like you got to let us go over there. You got to let us go. You got to let us go." And they kept holding us at bay, and it was probably the right call. This is not me trying to Monday morning quarterback anything that was going on or anything like that. We all felt helpless because we could hear all of this going on, and it seemed like our hands were just tied, and we could not do anything to get anything there to try to help. I cannot even begin to imagine what you felt, what Matt Meyer felt, what First Sergeant Beeson felt, all those people that were there with you quick on the ground. Yeah, I mean, just the helplessness, the anger, all of the emotions that are going on there, and we just wanted to fucking get there and get you guys out. And then to, you know, again, not to, I don't necessarily want to go down this route, but it is part of it, right? Is like you mentioned with Abad, like we're redeploying at the same time.
Yep.
We're
He was going
trying
home that morning.
Yeah.
Straight out.
Yeah, we're trying to get the fuck out of there. But at the same time, we also knew that we had a mission. We knew that we were the right ones to do the mission. That there were no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Fuck, man. Yeah.
I couldn't even picture, like, I don't even want to picture, like, if that unit that replaced us had been the ones trying to stand that up. I mean, that was a unit that had been in the ship for 15 months, and we still lost 9.
Yeah. It would have been catastrophic, even more catastrophic, right? More than likely.
I agree.
Fuck, man. So, yeah, I mean, how do you come back from that? You know?
Yeah, that was, and you know, talking about that, like how do we come back from that? You know, so we rotated back to Vicenza, and prior to that deployment, like, you know, you hear of people saying, you know, back then you heard of PTSD, but you didn't really, unless you had been around dudes who had truly gave signs and symptoms, and you wanted to understand, like, yeah, man, we were around it all the time and we never realized it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what shifted me drastically as a leader wasn't so much the leading of those guys in combat, but having to take care of them when they came home, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Like, I remember, actually, I'm pretty sure you were the company commander already. I remember, like, what happened with Soames. We were at the baffle range. We're at the baffle range, zeroing our weapons, because I had already taken over 3rd Platoon. And we had moved around the company a little bit. And I was there as the NCOIC. I was a platoon sergeant, running the baffle range. And I remember, I think it was Lopez, Lieutenant Lopez, who was like, hey, it was Lopez and Jensen. They were like, hey, you know, we're having problems with Soames. Well, you worked with him. Can you go check him out? I was like, yeah, I fucking got him. I go in there and I lay down beside him. And I was like, what's going on, buddy? And he's like, sir, I don't know. Well, you know, I busted his chops a little bit in the beginning. He's like, yeah, what the fuck, man? I hear you're on your 2nd magazine. Like, you're zeroing, dude. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. He's like, I don't know, Soren. I just can't seem to shoot right. And I was like, all right, let's check this out. And I laid down beside him. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to watch you go through your trigger squeeze, your body posture, your breathing, your positioning. I was like, I'll see what I can see. I was like, if you're doing everything right, maybe your gun shot out, bro. I was like, you know, the last deployment we put him through hell. Maybe your shit shot out. You know, making jokes of the situation. But when I was sitting there watching him and his body posture and everything as he started engaging, I noticed, like, every time there was a twitch, his eyes would close. Like, he was fucking shell-shocked still, you know, from what he experienced at OP topside. And for the longest time, because of the way I wrote it up and when I came to the command with that situation, what was going on, I know that that's a part of why he got moved out. For the longest time, like, I carried that weight on me heavy until I think it was the year I retired in 2023. I had the fortunate luck to go on a veteran hunt that some nonprofit puts together, and it was 173rd guys who I did it with. So it was Jesse Quick was there, Soames was there, who else? There was like two or three others. There were Jacob Keating was there. There was a couple others. Yeah, it was and Jacob Keating is the one who actually pulled me into it. It was pretty awesome. But anyways, so, you know, I got to see Soames, and that was the first time I got to see him since the baffle range.
Okay.
Like, he hadn't been moved out so quick because of the way things were going on. That was the first time I got to see him since the baffle range. And I had the conversation with him, and I told him, and I was like, look, dude, you know, I to this day, I feel absolutely fucking horrible that what I brought up and the way I described it and talked about it led to you being out of the military. You know, I was like, I'm sorry. And he let me know, like, and it was good, man, because it was something I carried hard for a long time. But he let me know, like, no, Sergeant, like, what you did for me was the greatest thing anybody could have done. He's like, I was so fucking gone and shit like that. And we had a long conversation and heart to heart, and it was pretty cool, you know, but it was almost 20 years later that shit's been eating me up, that I finally got to have that conversation, you know. And it's like, the small stuff like that is what we carried with us. And then, you know, then became the discipline issues of the dudes who returned, who felt like, you know, the world owed them everything because they had went down range and they fought for their country, and trying to rope those guys in. And I think maybe that's what helped me for the longest time and not dealing with my own shit, is that I was always worried about how those dudes were doing, you know, like who's the next guy I'm going to get a phone call and I have to go to his house because he just attempted whatever in front of his wife and kids, or, you know, who's the next guy I got to go down to the MP station and pick up. And, you know, how do I keep these guys with the right mindset, letting them know, like, hey, man, this is This is who we are. This is what we do.
Yeah.
You know, don't piss away everything that you've done and you've accomplished with this. Well, at the same time, I was, dealing with my own shit, drinking my problems away at the bottom of a bottle and never even realized it.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, man, right? Because as soldiers, and especially as leaders, because as a leader you see more, right? And it's not to take away from that soldier on the ground who was physically in whatever situation they were in.
Right.
But you as a leader, you were not only part of that soldier situation, you were part of the other soldier situation, right? So in Wanat, you were part of the OP topside. You saw that. You were part of the mortar pit when it kicked off. You were part of the CP when that kicked off, when the gun truck. So you experience, maybe not as acutely, I guess is the right way to say it. Sometimes you do in your case, but as a leader, you get more of it, right?
Yeah.
And so as a leader, you're trained, and the best leaders are able to compartmentalize what goes on, and they shove that shit in the back, because as a leader, you got to snap back so quick, and you got to be able to move Chavez and Abad from the mortar position over to cover, because you know that position is no longer tenable. And then you've got to now take care of my guys over in the gun truck and get them out, and then you got to go back up the top side, and if you get stuck in one moment, then you as a leader are no longer good, and so
effective.
Yeah, and so what ends up happening is you carry that past the broader engagement of Wanat, and you carry that later into life, and you find your coping mechanisms. And whether that's alcohol, or some drugs, or whatever it is. I know I'm not trying to make this about me, and I'm not going to, but I've had my own issues where I thought I was really good. I really, really did. I thought I've got this figured out, because in the moment I get angry and I get pissed, but then afterwards, like I'm talking, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about in the moment in combat and things like that. Right. But afterwards I'm like, okay, guys, like that fucking happened. We got to fucking dust ourselves off, because it's not over, and we got to keep going. But what we don't realize is we think we've processed it. We think we've dealt with it, but it's still there. It's just hidden now in whatever compartment that we utilize, and it's just buried, and it's just waiting for that trigger. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's alcohol or something like that brings it right back out. And then at that point, you're not ready for it. And
Right.
You can't handle it, because now your inhibitions have been dampened because you're drunk. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
yeah. And so for you, like, I can only imagine, right? And I know you and I have talked some off this. And if you want to go into it, by all means, I'd love to hear your story, but it's amazing.
There's a lot, because like the other part is that was the combat side, right? So that was the professional side. The other parts of my life that I was going through at the time that people don't know, right? Is that I was going through a divorce because my wife cheated on me while I was on that deployment.
Yeah.
So I'd filed for divorce on that deployment. My little sister had gotten stabbed in a drug deal gone wrong. So she was cut from here to here. So she was laid up in a hospital. My mom had just got diagnosed with cancer. So all that shit was happening in that 15 months.
Yeah.
To little old, 23, 24-year-old Eric at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, looking back, I'm like, how the hell did I not lose it earlier? Because it did. It took a long time for all those things to surface. And it was hard. It was very hard because I did, like, as I was young, you figure 2008, that's 20. Yeah, I was 23, 24 years old at that point in time. 25. I think it was 25, 26. Yeah. Anyways, but coming back from that deployment, because like I said before, I was always the gray guy. Nobody really knew who I was. It was just the dude that made shit happen. So then coming back from that deployment, now, I got awarded the DSC, and then I got awarded the Silver Star, and everybody knew who the hell I was.
Yes.
Like, there was no hiding from it at that point in time. So then a part of me kind of like took on that persona, I think, and it kind of ruined me for a while. Like, looking back, it ruined me for a bit, because I thought I was on top of the fucking world. I thought nothing could touch me, because that's the way I was treated. And and I know, like, it was a running joke back then, but now I see how much of a running joke it wasn't. It was everybody treated me the way they treated me because they didn't know when I was gonna snap, and that's what everybody was afraid of, Yeah. But I didn't realize it at the time. Is that's what people were waiting on. Little did we know it wouldn't happen until almost 20 years later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've ran into my piece. I when it got bad, it was in 2021 was when shit really went downhill for me. For the shutdown of Afghanistan, as you know.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was.
But I was sitting in Mexico in the embassy, watching the whole thing unfold on the TV, and it just hit me different. And people were asking me all the time, because I worked with a couple agency letter places and stuff, and they would ask me, like, how do you feel about it, and what do you think, and everything. And I never really gave my piece, because it was like, I'm still in uniform, I'm still this, I don't really have a say so,
Yeah.
Looking back and knowing everything that unfolded after that, because that happened in August, and in August of 21, and January of 22, I was an inpatient. So it had a much larger effect on me than I thought it did. And that's while I was in an inpatient, it was when I got to find out of this new lovely term that they were tossing around called a moral injury. I got to find out about that, and I learned about that and was diagnosed with that, with the stuff that I was dealing with at the point in time. And I ended up, I was supposed to be there for inpatient for 4 weeks. What led to it is I rolled my car. I got piss ass drunk. I rolled my car 3 times going down the highway. Not my proudest moment.
Yeah.
A lot of things went through my head, it was like, because at the time I had my dog, Luna. She's a nutcase, but I love her. At the time I had her, and I was taking her everywhere with me, because there was I was kind of on a downward trend, and my wife's seen it, and I guess she had identified it. And so Luna, we kind of used Luna as like a emotional support animal.
Okay.
And it worked well. Like, she was awesome. She's part Malinois, so she's real intelligent, and she can pick up when things aren't going so well with me, and she'll come over and lay her head in my lap and all that good stuff. Like, she does great. But normally she was with me, and that day she wasn't. And I think the heavens above that she wasn't, because she would have got killed. I flipped that car and it rolled through the air 3 fucking times. I remember counting every single circle. Boom, boom, boom. I remember, and because we're so used to chaos, the car comes and it levels out, boom, it stops, and I'm sitting there. I was like, fuck. Hit the dashboard, call my wife. And she answers the phone. She's like, what's up? I said, hey, don't flip out. Everything's okay. I just flipped my car. I got some phone calls to make. I'll call you at the end of it, and I'll let you know how everything works out. But I'm perfectly fine. And I hung up on her. Then I called my detachment commander and I was like, "Hey, boss, I got bad news." I was like, I just rolled my car. I'm right over here off of 85. So I was only like 6 miles outside of the front gate to 7th Group compound. Not
Yeah.
good. Not good. So, but I had good dudes, and good dudes came, showed up, helped me out. Um, Ended up saving my career, obviously, because I was over 21 years in at that point in time. So I was watching everything just wash away and disappear from front of my face,
Yeah.
little by little. But I ended up going to rehab and PTSD facility, and I went and I got myself better, and it worked. That was the first step in a very, very long journey that I'd been
Yeah.
on as far as recovering, coping, and working through all the adverse effects that nobody likes to talk about when we're down in
Yeah.
the trenches. Like we all talk about it. I was watching a movie the other day with Sonia, and as I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, this was like yesterday, I think, yesterday or the day before. But I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and it's called Badland or Land Bad or something like that. It's about the PJ
Yeah.
who gets attached to the Tier 1, and then he's out there on his own.
Okay. I
What
know
I
which one
mean?
you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. It's mainly about the drone pilot and shit like that, but the
Yeah.
PJ's out there, and it's a big part of him too. Like I'm just sitting there on the couch and I'm watching all this unfold, and it's me and the wife, and I don't know, the kids were downstairs or something. And I look at it and I'm just watching it, and I got this big shit-eating grin on my face, and she nudges me and she's like, "What are you smiling about?" And I was like, "This is gonna sound absolutely absurd." And she's like, "Well, what is it?" And I was like, "You see all that?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I fucking miss it." She's
Yeah.
like, "What is wrong with you? Like, what is
Yeah.
wrong with you?" But it's something about it. And even
Yeah.
though looking back and knowing all the shit I'm dealing with and all the things I've put my family through, man, like
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate, and you know what I'm talking about. Like we've had a lot of people who have had wife after wife, and different situations that they've had to go through. Everybody's got their one, but I was very fortunate that Sonia has stuck by. She's been with me through the absolute worst of it. I attribute all of it to her because she will not let go of me.
Yep.
I don't get it. I don't get it. The woman is crazy, the amount of shit I put her through, but she refuses to let go. And I
Yeah.
am very grateful. I keep
No,
pictures of her right here by where I'm sitting, the family,
Yep.
It's always on
That's
the
awesome.
desk, the background, but
No,
it was rough.
you're extremely lucky in that regard. But
I am.
yeah, I want to. So for me, it was the first like real firefight that I was in back in Iraq. That when that happened, and you, it was crazy. It was there in Fallujah in fall of 2004, and afterwards, like I was like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do, right?
This is what I was born for.
Yeah, and I got it that so all of our buddies that are going to listen to this, they're gonna remember their stories and they're gonna be fuck yeah, right? But it's all those other, it's that 99% of the other population of the U.S. that is going to hear this and they're going to, what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
Somebody is trying to kill you and you're like, fuck yeah, let's do this.
Yeah,
But
man.
I mean, you can't, like, I don't know how to verbalize that. And I've thought about it time and time again. And I'm with you. I watch some of those movies and, I read some of the books or I listen to some of the podcasts. And all I can think about, yeah, I mean, there are times where it brings back the demons. But most of the times I remember me and Mitch Rucker fucking we're asleep we're over at Camp Joyce at this point. I think we had just moved into Camp Joyce, and we thought it was fucking hot shit there. We had built a barracks, and so like our soldiers were going to have a hard stand fucking concrete building to sleep in for the first time in like 10 months, and we were over the fucking moon. And all of a sudden, it's like probably 2 o'clock in the morning, and we hear the first blast, and it's off in the distance. And Mitch and I we're sleeping in a bunk bed together. He's on top, I'm on bottom, and neither one of us are asleep. And I just remember both of us thinking, "How far away is that? Like, is that
Do
us?
I have to get up for that?"
Yeah, do we have to get up?" And then finally, either he verbalized it or I did, and I was like, "Is that we're good, right?" He's like, "Yeah, I think so." But then the next one came, and it was a little bit closer, and then the next one came. We're like, "Oh fuck, okay, it's on." And so we grab our shit real quick, and at this point, our hooch is probably 100 meters down the hill from where our CP was. So we got a little bit of a run. The upside is like we've got HESCOs, unlike you guys, we've got HESCOs set up, so we've got cover and concealment along the way. But I mean, we fucking take off running, and I kid you not, 5-10 seconds after we leave our hooch, our hooch is destroyed. Shortly after that, like we're running, and all of a sudden, I don't know why he did it at the time. I do now. But Mitch just fucking tackles my ass out of the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, what the fuck? I get all kind of scraped up because there's gravel all over the place. And then, bam! Fucking RPG, or actually, I think it was 107's coming in. 107 hits. I'm like, okay, thanks. And so we fucking get up, right? But whenever Mitch and I get back together, we can't help but fucking laugh at that and the absurdity of it. And the fact that we laid in our bunks thinking, we're probably, this isn't close enough that we need to worry about this, right? And then the fucking, I mean, there's no other, obviously I've never, well, maybe not obviously, but I've never done drugs. I've drank more than my fair share of alcohol, but there is no other hit in the world that I can imagine that would give you that kind of feeling, that high, that adrenaline rush of, okay, it's our time. Let's fucking go. And grabbing the tow missile, you're like, no, it's either all of us or me. Yeah. Don't even have to think about it. You just fucking go. Now I can only hope and pray that at some, if me or one of my buddies that we're able to do that takes a whole different level, man. But there's nothing like it.
It's like I said, man, it was, that's one of people's favorite things to ask me. Like, what the fuck was you thinking? Like, what went through your head? In all honesty, man, it was literally that. Just the way I explained it. Like, the missile comes through, it lands. I'm looking, and I'm like, these motherfuckers got nowhere to run. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck it. And I grabbed it, and yeah. My favorite thing to say when people ask me, what were you thinking? Motherfucker, I wasn't.
You don't have time to think.
I wouldn't have done it.
That's a good point as well, right? So one of the broader lessons is all the training we do, there is a very distinct purpose behind that training, and the hard times that we put ourselves through. It's so that when you're in a position like that you don't think, you react.
Yep.
And the hope. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I 1000% attribute all my actions to the units that I had been in, the leaders that I had, because most of it, like, all honesty, like 90% of it was just that. It was a reaction, muscle memory, training kicked in, and I executed. Every one of those scenarios, I did nothing more then 7-8 Battle Drill 1 Alpha.
Yep.
That was it. I was maneuvering a fire team or a squad. I didn't do anything crazy in my eyes. I didn't do, it was just the basics.
Yeah. It wasn't heroic in your mind. It was what had to be done, and it was what you were trained
Exactly.
to do. Yeah.
100%. That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that what I was going to say is, that is the hope. And I remember as a battalion commander and as chosen six, doing the training, setting up the training, but more really as a battalion commander, because, back then we were so young mentally that it definitely didn't dawn on me what we were, the gravity of what we were training for. Right.
Yeah.
I knew what we were training for, but the gravity had not really set in. And so it wasn't until as a battalion commander that I remember with Jerry and setting up the training that we were doing, and finally being told by the brigade commander, hey, no, Chris, like, regardless of what size the deployment is going to be, 431 is going to be on the deployment. Okay, that got it, sir. I know what this means now. And setting up that training so that the hope is that if we are put in that situation, that I have trained these soldiers well enough that the instinct kicks in, because you don't know. And and I can't stress this enough, that I don't blame anybody that is not able to immediately react like that.
No.
Because you don't know until you're in the situation which way it's going to go, the fight or flight, right? You're going to have invariably at least one that looks at you and says, Sergeant Phillips, I can't do this. Right.
Yeah.
And I know from my point of view, I will never look at that person differently. I won't.
I agree. So one of the things that I've learned through inpatient, outpatient, and getting better is, so like I used to be the guy of, oh, you don't have PTSD, you don't have this, and if you ain't in the infantry, you ain't shit, all that. Like I was that guy, you know what I mean? I was the epitome of a paratrooper, if you would. Like, I talked the talk and walked the walk. That was who I was. But what I learned in outpatient and inpatient, is because you're in there with all kinds of people. You're in there with supply clerks. You're in there with sailors. You're in there with whoever was dealing with their own problem, because it is a veteran heavy place where I went to, which I recommend for anybody who can get in there. It's called Laurel Ridge Treatment Center. I highly recommend it. It was great for me. Something, to be all honest, I wish I could do once a year. I really do. Kind of like a reset.
Got out Laurel Ridge. Yeah.
So one of the things I learned there from going through the group therapies and stuff like that was that, and I explained this. I just had a phone call with a buddy of mine who's going into rehab. This guy, he operates at the top of the top. Right? If you can read between that, that's where he works. You know what I mean? Like day in, day out, that is what he deals with. That is who he is. And so when he called me and he told me that, and he told me flat out, like, hey, I'm calling you because even though I'm where I am and I do what I do, like the level of respect I have for you, yada, yada, yada. I won't go into the whole conversation, right? He's like, I want to hear your thoughts on this. And I told him flat out, I was like, look, dude, I was like, one, I couldn't be more fucking proud of you. I was like, you're going to be a better man. You're going to be a better husband. You're going to be a better fucking father. I was like, you will. I was like, it's not an easy thing for I'm not saying that it's not easy for anybody, but at the end of the day, there are certain caliber of men, certain caliber of people. We're just made differently. Yeah. Some of us were born and bred for this shit. Other people, you just walked the walk and you did what you had to do. You know what I mean? And I'm not taking from anybody. Those are my own thoughts, my own beliefs. But you know, he's sitting here telling me, you know, how he fucking respects me, this, that, and the other. And I told him, I was like, look, man, I was like, the hardest part about going there was one, swallowing the pride to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, because people like us, we don't do that shit. I was like, but I have zero regrets having done it, not fucking one. I was like, it only made me a better person. And I told him if I could, I'd go back every year, just like I just stated. I literally am that guy that needs that complete separation, lock me down for 4 to 6 weeks, and then release me back into the wild. Let me do a complete reset, reshuffle.
Yeah.
You know, and I told him, I was like, but one of the biggest takeaways, I went there being already kind of negative in the aspect of, okay, I'm going to come here with all these people and they don't know me. They don't know what I've been through. They're going to sit here and whine and cry and complain about the shit they went through and how they're traumatized and all that, you know, and I was playing all this shit in my head. So I went into it with a negative side in the beginning, right? And it took about 2-3 weeks to work that shit out of me, to be honest. Sitting there and actually getting to know the people and the brothers and sisters who have served along in some shape or form in a uniform just like we did, you know? Yeah. But one of the biggest takeaways I learned, and one of the biggest things I told my buddy to check yourself, check your ego, showing up there. And the reason being is because what I learned for me was, hey, so the S1 person who showed up and joined the military and I say S1 because it was a female S1 who made me open my eyes. That's why I use that specifically, right? I won't say her name, but I know she'll watch this at some point in time. And yes, I'm talking about you. You made a change on me. You know, they signed up to do that, to be human resources, and that's what they think they're doing. We signed up and continued to sign up and re-enlist and redo it again to be in the infantry. Like, hey, you know, I'm putting my ass on the line. This is what I want to do. I'm bringing the fight to the enemy. So our mentality and our thought process is already different. You know, like coming right out the rip, we're already in a different mindset. So then you add in the background of how people are raised. You know, she come in a nice, decent family, no issues, everything was good. You know, kind of like what I do for my kids. She grew up like my kids are growing up. My kids, you know, they get a little bit of secondary PTSD, but they see that dad's working on that shit. They know I'm working on it, you know. But they, for the most part, they have a good life. You know what I mean? So then you add in the background of those people. You know, guys like me and my friend that I'm talking about, we had it rough, man. We came up fucking shitty, you know. It wasn't great. Alcohol, parents, and beatings and all that stuff. So you add in that side. But then you get to the nitty-gritty of it, like I was explaining to him, and that person's sitting in an office doing their thing in Iraq, Afghanistan, typing away, taking care of whatever soldiers, and that rocket that comes in, they literally think they're going to fucking die. Yeah. That is their traumatic event. You know what I mean? And I never wrapping my head around that, how different people can have PTSD and dealing with those traumatic outcomes so differently, never sat in until being there and explaining that to him. And then I could hear, I think it was because we're so much alike, me and him, that the way I explained it to him, he was like, oh shit, you're right. Because I was already thinking like, what the fuck am I going to have to listen to going into this? You know? And so that's one of the biggest things I explain to people is just hear the other person out. Listen to their voice. Listen, watch their body cues. You're going to know if somebody's bullshitting because you have your own signs and symptoms that you've dealt with. You know? And I could see the sincerity in my female counterparts, or, you know, my 88 mics, or whoever else was sharing their piece and helping me get through my events. Like hearing them go through it, and it opened up another side of me. You know, it chiseled away a little bit more of that stone around that heart. So but you know, it was big. It was big.
No, that's a great point as well, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own story. Everybody's got their own trauma. And yeah, I mean, you don't know again, what's going to happen until it happens, and what that trigger is going to be for that person, right? That 88 Mike, the fucking fueler on Fob Fortress, that's making sure we can burn our shit and fuel our trucks. They didn't necessarily sign up to get mortared every other day and shot at every day. But guess what? Here you are. And your trauma, nobody's trauma is exactly the same. And the biggest thing that I hope all of the people that listen to this, aside from the fucking hellaciously great stories that you've told, the biggest thing that I hope, they take away is you got to take the first step to recovery. And that's got to be on you. Somebody else can't make you do it. Much like yourself, and I mentioned this briefly when you were talking about Sonia. It was my wife. It was post. It was 2011. I was in the old guard. I had just left the 173rd, and Bradley Falls, if you remember Sergeant Falls. He was one of my squad leaders, or section sergeants, I guess technically, in Delta Company when I was destined 6. He was in the old guard, and we were doing a regimental ball, a brigade ball, and we had gotten together and we were having drinks, and next thing you know, he and I started doing shots, right? And that's the last thing I remember. And it was not a good night. I'm not going to go into details, quite frankly, because I'm still in the military. But it was bad. And that next morning, I remember waking up. My wife and I had gotten a hotel there in DC where the ball was, and I was sleeping. And I woke up on the couch, and I knew, me sleeping on the couch was not a good sign. So I was like, oh. It's. I find my wife, and she's like, so what do you remember? I was like, I told her, I remember doing some shots there at the ball or whatever. She's like, okay. She laid it all out for me. And at this point in my time at the old guard, I knew I was getting ready to PCS to go out to Leavenworth. So we were there literally for 1 year. I'd gotten picked up early to go to school out at Leavenworth. And so I was going to be a geo bachelor. I was going to leave the family there and let them stay because we had bought a house thinking we would be there for 3 years. She's like, look, you've got 1 year to get this figured out, because I've seen it for a while. I saw it when you got back from Afghanistan in 08. And I see it now. And I know that you don't see it. And you won't talk to me about it, whatever it is. So either you figure this out in the next year, or we may not be leaving with you whenever you PCS from Leavenworth. And it was just like, oh shit. Okay. And it was just, for me, it was kind of that divine intervention, kind of like you were talking about, because I show up there to Leavenworth, and of course everybody, I got the 173rd combat patch on, and we had just done really 3 back-to-back deployments, not you and me, but the brigade had just done 3 back-to-back deployments. And I show up day 1 in my little small group there, and I got this old retired, I think he was a 05 artilleryman, and he saw the combat patch, and he immediately was like, were you in the 173rd when Wanat happened? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, that's perfect. We want to do this like virtual battlefield discussion on it, and talk about the deployment and all this stuff. And I looked at him and I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not going to be part of that. I don't want to talk about that, because I knew that, like, that's the stuff that was, not that I was involved in Wanat, but like I didn't want to talk about it. Larry, for me, is one of the bigger ones that fucked me up when Larry Rugel was killed.
He was the first person I met when I got to Italy.
Yeah. Well, he was my Ranger buddy for 5 months in Ranger school.
No shit. I didn't
yeah.
know that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so he was one of the first guys you met. He was one of the first guys that I met again in the 173rd. So I'm walking down the road there in between the PX and where brigade headquarters was.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
All of a sudden I hear somebody, Chris. And I fucking turn around and there's now Staff Sergeant Rugel. I'm like, what, Larry? He's like, yeah, what's up, man? Yeah. And so that's one of the ones that probably hit me the hardest. But the divine intervention piece was they're in the small group. They kind of give you a battle buddy, right? Unofficially. And I sit down next to this older gentleman. He's a major, like I'm a major. And I look over at him and I can't remember. I don't think he's got a Ranger tab. I know that. I can't remember if he's got a long tab or not. I think he had a long tab. But he's a fucking chaplain. And he likes to golf. And so we start talking. And me and Richard Winchester, he's retired now. We started going golfing just about every afternoon on the little golf course there at Leavenworth. And he could tell, and he kind of started scratching a little bit, and I eventually started opening up, and that was for that particular piece, anyways. That's for me how I was able to, thank God, start to unburden some of that.
That's awesome.
And yeah,
That's the biggest piece that I always try to throw out to people too, man, is because that's what happens, right? Is all honesty is people start feeling alone, they start self-isolating, and it's like, you start to lose hope and stop caring. Like there's signs, like literally I've caught myself doing it again to where, since I've retired, where I find myself starting to go down certain rabbit holes, and I'm like, all right, you're starting to go down a spot you don't need to go, and I have to branch out and find something else and redirect focus, because it's a never-ending process, man.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the biggest thing I always want to tell people is it gets better, but it doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Like it is something you have to live with the rest of your life. It's just a matter of how you want to live with it. And I mean that in a proper way, like for me, I focus all my time into trying to be a better dad. Like that's my number one thing, like after I went SF, when Sean was born, his first 5 years, that boy had no idea who the hell I was. Yeah. He had no clue that first 5 years, but I know I can't make up for that time, but I try to replace that with good memories now, and that awesome. Becomes a big part of my focus, Yeah. But yeah.
Well, brother, we've got a good one here, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah. But I'm thinking we probably leave this as part one, because I think the other piece to this, I don't want to gloss over your time in the 82nd as much as I poo-poo on the 82nd. It's a hell of a unit, and storied and got its traditions. But I also want to talk about your soft time a little bit, and really about your transition and how you handled that. So I think we'll catch up again later. We'll give this some time to marinate. And I can't thank you enough for coming on. And so I'm going to leave kind of the final word with you.
I appreciate it. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to come in here and talk about this and bring it out, because it is one of the things that no shit helps me the most. I'm huge even now in my consulting / contracting life, and the big coach, teach, mentor. It's the Army I grew up in. And so like being able to coach, teach, and mentor people into their path to recovery and coping and dealing with things and becoming better than they were yesterday is it's near and dear to my heart. So I greatly appreciate the opportunity and being able to come on and talk about these things with you guys.
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, so for everybody out there, you can find us on YouTube. You see the Boots and Shoots Unfiltered up there at the top of the screen. We're on Spotify. Give us a like, give us a listen. Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, we're out there. So please come like, subscribe. It's been a hell of a ride here. I appreciate it, Eric.
Nice.
All right, guys.
Appreciate you, Chris.
Did it stop recording? Fuck no.
No.
Okay. That's fine.